This is Roseanne. She's famous for having a TV show back in the 90s with John Goodman, self-titled. I think the name of it was Roseanne. She's gone completely off the deep end, okay? She is a far-right nutterbutter who has found herself sitting on Alex Jones's set. She's doing an interview with Alex Jones, dead serious. This is actually part 2. If you haven't seen the other, don't sweat it. This stands independently of the rest. I'll provide context if it's missing. She claims to be Jewish. I'm not convinced because this is a Saturday when this is happening, when this interview is taking place. It's the Sabbath. She said it earlier. And if she really is Jewish, she's breaking a ton of rules. She also gets really anti-Semitic pretty soon. So let's listen and see what she had to say in this interview with Alex Jones. It's bound to get nutty.
He goes to God and says, these are bad. See, let me go after them. That's why he wants us to do sins and create wicked dominions, because he can only operate where he's got that going on.
And then he brings us before the court of heaven and says, here were their sins and here's what I got them to do. So in effect, you don't get away with nothing. And
that's what's crazy is Satan is described as the prosecutor.
That's right. He is the prosecutor.
He's the accuser.
Okay, I don't remember that. He's the accuser, but not the prosecutor. What are they talking about?
He's the accuser and the prosecutor in the upper court. So
there is no upper court of heaven. What the fuck are they talking about? This is just like a nonsensical far-right extremist fever dream that these people live in.
That message says is, you also will be judged for what you allow and for what you're blind to. You also will be judged for what you allowed. I want people to know that, because what you turned your blind eye to, you're going to be judged for that too.
So Tucker Carlson said this Friday, where are the big Christian churches? When we play the clip in a moment, where are the Christian churches when in the U.S., Canada, Europe, everywhere, they are arresting preachers that peacefully protest abortion clinics?
Okay, they are not arresting preachers that peacefully protest abortion clinics. I haven't heard word of preachers being arrested, period. Is this even true? I would be willing to bet money that he's just making this up. Not Alex Jones, but Tucker Carlson, who was talking about a minute ago. But aside from that, no one is being arrested for exercising their First Amendment right. It's not happening. I don't know. It might be happening in cases of drag queens exercising their First Amendment rights, but it's not happening to the right wing. Put it that way.
And peacefully protest drag queen pedophile time, and they are
Okay, that's not what that is, but hang on. Let me step back. Let's listen again.
Tucker Carlson said this Friday, where are the big Christian churches? When we play the clip in a moment, where are the Christian churches when in the U.S., Canada, Europe, everywhere, they are arresting preachers that peacefully protest abortion clinics?
That's not happening.
And peacefully protest drag queen pedophile time, and they are...
That's not what that is.
...arresting them. Where is Joel Osteen? Where are they? Even if you're not a Christian, we should support their free speech.
Well, I think that is what Jesus said, ain't it?
To the Pharisees, he said, you're not really doing anything.
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
And they got mad. They said, why are you hanging around with tax collectors and Protestants? He said, that's where the people need help. You're too high and mighty and even meet with these people.
And he also took people up to a mountain and he said, hey, I'm going to feed 2,000 people with, just a little bit of fish and a little bit of wine. Remember?
No, loaves and fishes. Wine? Did Jesus even bring wine to like the loaves and fishes thing or whatever? What you talking about?
That one?
Yes.
And what did he say? He was teaching people about metaphysics and common will.
What? Jesus? Metaphysics? What you talking about?
The will of the people united can change everything, including, I know this will get me in trouble, but I believe it, including matter itself.
Well, they know in...
What does she mean by that? Hold on. She says, I know it'll get me in trouble? As if literally everything that she said up to this point isn't fucking unhinged from reality. There is nothing that she could say right now that would get her in more trouble than what she's already in. Okay, I wrote that one down. Listen to this one more time. We'll try to get a grip on what she's saying here.
Did he say he was teaching people about metaphysics and common will? The will of the people united can change everything, including, I know this will get me in trouble, but I believe it, including matter itself.
So she's saying if you believe hard enough, then you can be capable of levitating things and like moving them from one place to another like the Force. Is that what she's saying? I think so.
Well, they know in quantum mechanics,
Right.
for 100 years, 120, 150 years of Max Planck, but now they've got the big spectrometers and things, and they know that just a human observing something, when the microscopes are observing, they can't catch it. As soon as you turn it off, the particle slips across the time-space barrier.
Okay, this is actually a completely misunderstood effect that he's talking about here, and I know a lot about this, so we may end up getting into this in a minute. The observer effect in quantum mechanics, yeah. A lot of people believe there's something mystical about this, something special that implies that electrons know that there's an observer there, and that's why they're doing this or whatever. It's not. That's not what's actually happening. I'll explain it in a minute if I need to.
It can't be seen. It's not allowed to be seen. That's power. And
No, it's not allowed to be seen. That has nothing to do with it. The bottom line behind the observer effect is we're dealing with particles, electrons, that are so small. They're like the smallest things in the universe practically, the smallest measurable things in the universe, right? Now, how do we measure things? We shoot photons at it, and when they bounce off of that thing and come back to like the eye of the camera or the retina or whatever, we can measure how quickly it comes back, or we can measure, its distance or whatever other thing. That's how we do those measurements. That's what they mean when they say observe. We're bouncing things off of these particles, right? So basically when something bounces off of this like electron or whatever, to do the measurement in the first place, when something bounces off the electron, it messes it up. It changes its location and all of the data that we gathered about it. Because they're both so small that they affect each other's size and they affect each other's like destination and spin and all of that other stuff. The observer effect is just a result of an inability to measure something so small with something else that's also so small. That's what it is. It's not mystical. It's not special. It's not like secret or whatever. That's all just made up nonsense.
Scientists who weren't even religious or spiritual, they go, whoa, something else is in control.
No, that's not what scientists ever said at any point. This is just co-opted by religious nutcases who wanted it to be something crazy when it's just not.
They're seeing it for themselves.
Yeah, because consciousness affects matter.
I don't know what that means at all, but okay.
Proven.
It absolutely does. So that's why I was thinking if we all put our heads together and like the will of the people united equals the work of God.
And that's what the system fears, is the will to wake up, the will to build a better world, the will to say we can have all the resources we need, which we've got. They've already photographed trillions of galaxies now with hundreds of millions of stars.
Photographed trillions of galaxies? Well, you can't possibly count to a trillion. You know how long it would take to count to a billion? 31 years. That's how long it would take. So counting to a trillion would be 1,000 times that amount. 31 years times 1,000, what is that? 31,000? I mean, I guess if you had 31,000 people counting these universes, or I'm sorry, counting these galaxies, it would take each of them like a year to do it or something, but okay. I'm just saying, like, it's a little thing, but I want to really poke holes in what he's saying here.
Stars and planets per galaxy. I mean, folks, there's not, we're at an embryonic level. We're about to do something big, and there's a force that knows that is the tester, that is allowed.
Your mom's about to do something big, which is me. Zing. Common O&W right there.
We're about to do something big, and there's a force that knows that is the tester, that is allowed. because that's free will. Doesn't mean God likes it, but God has to give us free will, and that's kind of
God is unhappy about the fact that we have free will. What?
boot camp, and some make it through boot camp, some don't.
Yeah, because after free will, after free will, there's something else. That's called invention.
Invention? What the fuck are these two people talking about?
Exactly, innovation,
Creativity, true creativity.
God, we're made in the image of the Creator.
Yeah.
We create, and look what we've done. We envision.
Dude, I love that Alex Jones doesn't understand a fucking word she's saying, and he's just doing his best to, like, pretend that he agrees with her and understands what she's trying to communicate when he very obviously does not. I love it. This is hilarious.
Spaceships on the moon 150 years ago, they're there. Max Planck envisioned 130 years ago, atomic bombs in his mind. It was real. That's power.
Our power is we can
Just dead silence. I love it, dude. Our power is
fix every single problem on earth if we just see it. When was the last time I always ask people, can you envision a perfect society? And nobody ever can, because they haven't even thought to do it. Hasn't even occurred to them to think to do it. But of course it can't exist until we see it. It can't exist until we see it and talk about it, think about it. Even
dude, I'm starting to wonder if maybe she's schizophrenic or something. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, like, what's going on with her in her head, but something's not quite right here. The dub of the anime Ghost Stories is hilarious improv. One of the quotes from a mom to her son is, "Drag queens won't bother you. Worry about the priests." Oh, that's funny. I love it. That's fantastic. I got to use that in the future. Alex Jones brings the crazy out of people. Oh, absolutely. Or does he bring the crazy people out to him? It could be. Alex Jones damage control when she speaks low, right? This is just nuts, dude.
think about it.
And the purpose of society is interfacing with God, with competition and ideas and openness. And the most intelligent and powerful become the leaders, but they scoop up those of the lowest, empower them, and it just makes it all so much stronger.
Yeah, because that's why I moved to Hawaii, because I had in my mind this vision of a perfect society where everybody ate, everybody grew stuff in common, food, because food is what's going to be scarce next. That's the next trick.
Well, Thomas Jefferson said, farmers are the basis of any civilization.
And I farm in Hawaii, organic farming, and we fought with Monsanto. Well, that's why I end up running for president, because in
She fought with Monsanto. Interesting. Wow, this is revealing a lot, actually. She ran for president in 2012. That's not something that I knew. Is that even true? Did she even get like 1% of the vote? Was she even in the polls? I doubt it. What a crazy story.
2012, I helped to chase Monsanto's ass off the big island of Hawaii. And they were going.
Kona?
No, not, yeah, Kona.
No, it's called Hawaii, the big island, I believe.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah. And, for organic farming.
People that don't know that I'm in a helicopter, that is a big, giant farm.
Yeah. And I grow pineapples, citrus, and I got like 2,000 MacNut trees. And
She doesn't grow shit. She has people doing all this for her. It's not fair to claim that she's a farmer. She's not.
I'm glad to talk about this too, because the macadamia nut is a gift of God, and I believe that might.
Oh my God. Macadamia nuts are like heavily revered in Hawaii. I went to Hawaii when I was like 14 or something, because my mom worked for a call center, like taking phone calls for people. She made like minimum wage. And when she worked there, she got 4 free standby plane tickets per year, basically. Like, she was allowed to go anywhere for her immediate family 4 times a year for free, basically. But we had to like stay in the airport a few times, though, sleep on the chairs there, because there was no outgoing flight available for us. So it wasn't perfect or flawless or whatever, but we paid basically nothing to go to Hawaii. It was practically free. which is pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, they're really big on macadamia nuts in Hawaii. It's like, I don't know, one of the things that they love the most there or something.
Been what manna was in the desert. I have it in my mind. It could have been.
Macadamia nuts were manna. Are you kidding me? Manna wasn't real, first of all. And second, it was described as icing, okay? Not nuts. What?
Because it was like, that nut is the perfect protein, that it has the exact amount of fats and protein to nourish the brain. And I have it all over the ground in Hawaii because it costs too much to shell it twice. And then, that's why they're so expensive. But this is the most perfect food for the human being that, I believe it's just the perfect food that could solve world hunger right now if they'd figure out a way.
Well, that's the thing.
Macadamia nuts could solve world hunger, she says. Oh, my God, dude. She bought into the Hawaiian propaganda, I guess. How ridiculous.
Are openly creating as many problems as they can because they're scared of this jump point we're about to achieve, where we'll have free energy, unlimited power, unlimited life, even the third dimension. God's given us so much power that our soul is eternal, but now it's about to be eternal even in this third dimension. That's the reflection of that eternity is so powerful. It's about to create immortality here now.
Dude, what is he talking about? Like, these words mean things individually, but when put together are completely meaningless.
Well, I'm seeing...
That's the higher dimensions invading the lower dimensions.
I'm seeing in the fifth dimension, which my friend wrote a book, Married...
Okay, there is no fifth dimension to our knowledge. Like, what's she talking about? There are 3 space dimensions, and then there's 1 fourth dimension, which is time. Space and time are not separate things. There's a single thing called space-time, one thing. When you are moving in one direction, you slow in the other direction. Like, if you're going northeast at 50 miles an hour, you're actually moving north at 25 miles an hour and east at 25 miles an hour, right? Like an Etch-a-Sketch, if you think about it. And time, being one of the dimensions that we move through at a certain rate, if you're moving, in one dimension at a certain speed, then your movement through time, the time dimension slows. That's how it works. What would the fifth dimension be? What's she talking about? Fifth dimension?
Called Quintessence, about the...
Dude, she is sick. I mean, really, she's sick. She needs help. Now. She is in bad shape, for real.
Dimension, where everything is telepathic and we're connected to the past, the present, and the future, which we are anyway. We're wired for that. All at the same time, but we don't really notice it because we have all these walls in our mind due to mind control and mass media and all these other distractions.
All right, hold on. I got to write this one down too. 220... Fifth dimension mind control. This is just nuts, dude.
But we do have the power to go into the past and see the future and be in the now at the exact same time. And we do it every day anyway, but we don't.
Let me tell you, it hasn't happened a lot in my life, but I've had it happen 10 times or so where I have an exact dream. It can be the most simple thing, but it can also be very usually traumatic thing that comes true months or years later. I've even written down the stuff that happens exactly as I saw. So that's going into the future. And really, that's what the system fears, is that we have that capacity. And once you transcend and realize how powerful you are through God, you don't need them anymore.
Well, the fifth dimension is where all of that stuff comes into play, and how we can trigger ourselves into the fifth dimension, which I think we are in the doorway of, is by just imagining. I love the word imagining what it looks like to live in a perfect neighborhood or perfect, let's start with family. What does it look like to live in a perfect neighborhood? What does it look like to live in a perfect community that works for all the people, where all the kids are safe? And I think about that all the time. So in Hawaii, it's a bunch of farms in common, and everybody grows the things that are needed for the community.
So what she's describing is communism, right? She's describing communism. She wants to live on a commune. She wants to be a communist. It sounds to me, right? Am I missing something here?
And it works really well. And I think it's a model. And I think everybody should start thinking about that now.
This is just nuts, dude. Holy shit. She has problems.
Because they are trying to manipulate our food. That's the next big thing, and our water. So everybody should be looking into like how to get your community-based food and water. That's living with your neighbor and reaching out to them and working, together to make that happen without the government giving you anything, but doing the work yourselves.
And again, that sounds oversimplistic, but it's not. The whole system is about making us dependent on them.
Yeah, taking away our free will.
No, no to all of this. She really needs mental help. Roseanne Barr is officially running for president. Oh, okay. 2012. Wow. There was a link apparently where she ran for president. This is from the Washington Post. The comedian registered with Federal Election Commission in late January to run for the Green Party nomination. The LA Times reports Green Party. That's like a left-wing party. That's weird. Both the Democratic and Republican parties are bought and paid for by corporate America and cater to the needs of the highest bidder as opposed to the people they claim to represent, she said in a statement. She adds that she's been a tireless advocate of Occupy Wall Street since the beginning. Well, no longer. This is her kind of on the left, and now she's on the right. What the hell happened to her? God, she went downhill quickly. That was just like out of nowhere. That is nuts. Dude, she's got problems.
Sort of free will, free thought, any kind of individuality. They don't want us to help each other either.
The government? The government does not care if you help anybody, whatever.
They don't want us to educate each other. They don't want us to lift each other. They just want us all to fight, 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 and hate.
How is it going for the New World Order?
Well,
there is no New World Order. Okay? You live in a delusion.
They're over, and they know they're over, and they're desperate. Look how desperate they are. Would it come to a point where they're actually thinking about pushing Putin to, surrounding Putin on every single side?
Of course she supports Putin. Of course she does. QAnon, in my opinion, is basically just an outlet for Vladimir Putin's propaganda into the United States. I've seen enough Putin propaganda come right out of QAnon that I'm comfortable calling it. Like, it is just a right-wing arm of the Russian government. QAnon is, basically. Now, I guess that's how she got sucked into it, I'm assuming, was through that. I don't know. It's so hard to know exactly, like, what sources she's reading and stuff like that, but my God, this is crazy.
Look what they're doing over there. Look what we're doing. We're doing it.
And again, it's because Russia is weak. I'm not saying Russians are weak themselves, but I'm saying they're the smallest power of the three blocks. The U.S. globalist thing, the Chi-Coms allied with that covertly, and Russia has this great landmass and all this, but they are weak compared to the globalists, and I think that's why they've chosen them. But at the end of the day, now they're forcing the Russians to fight. Where do you see this going?
Well, my family is from the Ukraine and from Russia. And I know that every single fight, that's why I'm talking to people today.
Wait, her family's from Ukraine and Russia? And she's also apparently Jewish in addition to that? Okay. I mean, it's not unheard of. I'm just trying to, chase all this back and figure out what she believes about her heritage and her whole setup here, because everything that she said so far contradicts what she has claimed about her heritage and all of that.
Every single fight is won through heart and will. It's decided at that point. That. That's Machiavellian. It's decided at the point of will and heart. And so you can't take that away from the Russians. And I like how he said, well, go ahead anyway, because what is the world without Russia? And I mean, what is the world without Russia?
Wow, she is puffing. She's putting a puff in Putin's petticoat, if you will. Alliteration, unintentional, but much appreciated. This is just bizarre, dude. It's bizarre to hear somebody so positive about Vladimir Putin and Russia when they are so very obviously the bad guys in this situation?
So what do you gut level think's about to happen?
I think what's about to happen is, because we prayed here today, all that shit's going to break down, and I think that nothing's going to happen. I think they're all going to get caught. I think that
Who is they? Who's going to get caught?
the whole Epstein thing's going to be exposed. I think that intelligence and the people and all.
She thinks the Epstein thing's going to get exposed. What specific thing is she talking about right now? Wasn't the Epstein thing exposed already? Don't we all know that he was doing what he was doing now? I don't understand. What more is going to be exposed? I mean, I guess we could get a list of, his clients that he had. He had a black book, didn't he, at some point? I'd love to have that list, but I honestly don't think it'd make a difference. Donald Trump was very obviously close with Epstein and involved in what he was up to. Tons and tons of pictures of them together and court records and all kinds of stuff. And no one seems to give a shit about that.
The research they're doing is going to pay off. I think every one of them, as my friend said about 20 years ago, the children will speak the names of their abusers in public. I think it will crumble everything. And these.
So just like the communists and the Nazis, this tyranny seems invincible. It seems arrogant. It seems like it can't be stopped. But they act arrogant and all powerful. You will eat bugs. You'll have nothing to make us.
You will eat bugs. You'll have nothing. What? Who is saying any of this stuff?
Think, well, they're so evil. They're out in the open. They're doing that to make us think we're weak.
They're doing it, to make us think we're helpless. But, like I said, they don't know anything about the human spirit or the soul of God.
Which shows how they're not human. I saw an article.
I don't believe that. I don't think they're human either.
Exactly. It's like an
I
avatar.
Think they're messengers.
They've turned their bodies over.
They're negative angels. And
wow, dude. Who is they? Is it the Jews? I think it's the Jews in this case. Or anybody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport. Or both, I guess.
They're like, they're putting fear into us because Satan feeds on fear.
Well, I saw a New York Times article last week where they went,
Well, Satan may feed on fear. I get she believes that, but personally, I think that I feed on your mom.
Last week where they went, we've done major polls in Russia and secret studies and talked to everybody. The more we kill Russians, the more they fight. Well, when Hitler started bombing London and civilian targets, it made the British go from being anti-war to pro-war. That's like you walk up and punch me in the face, you're going to get a fight. I mean, how did they not know that starting a war 9 years ago in Ukraine and then launching it and getting Putin to come in?
Wow. Listen to him twisting this shit around completely out of proportion. This is actually really interesting. So he says the United States or I guess, what do you call it? Like Zelensky or Ukraine started the war in Crimea in 2014, 9 years ago. Ukraine started the war in Crimea, and then that forced Russia to come in. What? Who was the war between if they started the war in the first place and forced Russia to come in? He's making it seem like it was a three-way battle between three different groups of people, Russia included. Who's the third party? There was no war started by Zelensky, okay, or Ukraine or America or any of it. Russia tried to take Crimea for imperialistic reasons in 2014 and took it. And then in 2022, Putin came in and tried to take the rest of Ukraine for imperialistic reasons. Who started this war exactly? And with who? Like, who is the other party? This is such nonsense. Yeah, Putin invading Crimea was Ukraine being aggressive? Exactly, Robert Adsett. Just ridiculous on every level.
And launching it and getting Putin to come in. How did they not know that, the Russians are losing, now they're really ready to go to war? Like, how do you not know human nature? It's not human. I can tell you right now, I said it a year ago when it started. I said they're going to beat the Russians up front, and the Russians are going to double down. It's going to escalate. I mean, now it's happening.
Well, they want an escalation because that's a part of depopulation. Also, war is a great cover for stealing kids.
Wow, dude, this is just fucking crazy. But you know what? This is actually straight out of the QAnon textbook what they're saying here. There's this person named Delora O'Brien, right? She's a QAnon nutter butter to the extreme. And she claimed, like, shortly after the war, like a month after the war started in Ukraine, that, well, you know what? I'll just let you listen to it. Just listen to her claim here. This is early March 2022, just a month or two after the war started. It started February 20th, so actually it's just a couple weeks after the war started. Listen to what Delora O'Brien, QAnoner, said about it.
I'm not on Putin's side. I'm not on Zelensky's side. I'm not on Trump's side. I'm on God's side. God's side is the side of truth. It just so happens that right now, our President Trump is on the side of God.
No.
Also, believe it or not, so is Putin.
I don't believe it. Okay, so here's the claim. Listen to this.
Right before I came on here, this is what was sent to me. A Russian soldier. I even have his name, and I can't give it. I'm sorry. I can't. Just research it. I'm sure it'll start coming out.
Anyone surprised it never came out? Because it was fake?
Searching for bioweapons. There was him and a few of his the other soldiers.
That was the original claim, that they were searching for bioweapons in Ukraine. It was completely made up. It was Russian propaganda. So why is an American, like 2 weeks after the war starts, spreading Russian propaganda like this that came straight out of the Kremlin? It gets even worse. Keep listening.
Searching for bioweapons in central Ukraine, stumbled upon a child trafficking den.
Nonsense. All of it. This is straight from the Kremlin. Straight Russian propaganda intended to deceive gullible fools who already believe in QAnon. QAnon is nothing more than Russia's route into propagandizing to Americans. That's what it is. She goes on to describe it in vivid detail. It was all made up, all of it. It offered no evidence for it, of course. It's like that's what we're seeing again with Roseanne. She's, once again, propagandizing for Russia. What investment does she have in improving Russia's reputation? Why does she care? She doesn't. She's being propagandized too by QAnon.
And let's talk about that. They are
everything is about that. I called it the pedo Ponzi pyramid.
Talk about it. Their currency is innocence of children, because children are connected to God, and if they can torture a child, that pisses God off and sticks a knife in God's leg.
Well,
dude, just everything about this is unhinged from reality. And aside from that, why doesn't God do something about it if that's true? Why doesn't he prevent this from happening? Because it's all made up.
And that's what it is they want to torture God, and that's why they want to hurt children. Is that correct?
They hate life. They're necrophilic. We are biophilic. We love life. And that's...
Okay, so what she said, I feel like she is misusing this without even realizing it. This is just... I'm so lost and confused by all of this. Does she realize that necrophilia is very specifically a sexual thing, not just like loving life or loving death or whatever? This is just weird.
The difference. You can call it good or evil. You can call it God or Satan.
But are you pro-life or pro-death? Exactly.
Exactly. And that's funny because look at how they say, like I said, I went from domestic goddess to domestic terrorist, I guess, because I've never been somebody who's for killing kids in the womb or out, It's funny. But
well, let's talk.
That's not what anybody has a problem with. Nobody cares if you are pro-life or, pro-choice or anything. No one gives a shit. You can be whatever you want. You're a terrorist. You're an extremist now, Roseanne. Have you lost the plot completely at this point? She needs mental help badly.
Talk about that. I don't want to interrupt you.
That's all it's about. It's a pedo Ponzi scheme, and a pedo Ponzi scheme. It's Yeah, currency is children.
I want you to elaborate on that. I'm not trying to get you in trouble again, but you went on Joe Rogan like 4 years ago when you got deplatformed along with me. And I have the 60 Minutes clip. Guys, cue it up. If she doesn't say it, it's fine. Because taking on Soros is a big deal. But
Wow, dude, that's crazy. I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop it there. Hang on.
I want you to elaborate.
Yeah, currency is children.
What an absolutely unhinged thing to say. Like, I don't know. How did she get here, dude? How did she get to this point? This is fucking nuts. Her mind is completely gone. Right? Wow, dude. I feel so bad for her family that they have to deal with this. This is really sad. And that it's so public. It couldn't just be like somebody who has real mental problems. It had to be a public display. That's really sad. I'm sorry that they have to deal with this. I wish them the best.
I want you to elaborate on that. I'm not trying to get you in trouble again, but you went on Joe Rogan like 4 years ago when you got deplatformed along with me. And I have the 60 Minutes clip. Guys.
Right. So if you're unfamiliar with why Roseanne got quote unquote deplatformed back in the day, the reason is because she called one of Obama's staff members an ape, a black staff member. She called her an ape. And then she blamed it on Ambien. And the company Ambien came out and said there are no side effects to this that include racism or something like that. It's pretty funny. So anyway, yeah. She was just straight up racist to somebody for absolutely no reason and then blamed everyone around her. So
cue it up. If she doesn't say it, it's fine. Because taking on Soros is a big deal, but she has a lot of courage. Soros went on 60 Minutes. He went on NPR. And he said, best part of my life was working for Hitler. and I don't have any guilt for myself because I was just filling a slot. Well,
oh, my God. Okay. So George Soros, you probably heard of him as one of their boogeymen, right? One of the right's like big evil bad guys that ruins people's lives and blah, blah, blah. Let me explain this to you real quick. So George Soros got rich by doing something called shorting stocks, right? The stock market in itself is kind of immoral in the way that some of it operates. You're basically, when you short a stock, you're betting on that stock to fail, right? So GameStop, a brick and mortar game company, is almost certainly going to fail in the next 15 years, right? Their stock will be lower next year than it is right now, almost certainly, right? Because everything's moving digital. There's no need for like a brick and mortar GameStop anymore. So there are these betting markets with the stock market where you can borrow a stock, like a single share of a stock, say GameStop, for example, for 1 year, right? So you borrow one of those shares for 1 year, say the share is worth $60 or something, and you immediately turn around and sell that share as soon as you borrow it. And in a year, you have to pay the person back that you borrowed it from. Now, if the share is worth less in a year than it was when you first borrowed it, then you've made money. That's called shorting a stock. And it's generally viewed as destructive to the system because people are losing money that don't, it's not really viewed as fair. Exactly. So anyways, George Soros got famous for shorting stocks. He got rich, actually, by shorting currencies. He bet against, say, the British pound. He bet that the British pound would fail. He bet that, the U.S. dollar or whatever other thing would fail. And he was right. They failed. And he made billions and billions of dollars this way, right? Well, he's also a political activist, as it turns out. So he would donate, like, millions of dollars to various different Democratic candidates' funds. And for that reason, he's kind of viewed as like the left-wing version of the Koch brothers, when he's really not. The Koch brothers are, with absolutely no morals in their head, trying to destroy the planet by, like, making oil a lot more common and fucking workers out of every penny that they have and stuff like that. I mean, George Soros being a billionaire, I don't think the dude really cares about workers or whatever. But, he's funding Democratic platforms, so I can't complain too much. Well, here's where it gets interesting. if you notice, Alex Jones mentioned, he said he liked working for Hitler and stuff. He never worked for Hitler, okay? He is Jewish, and he's a Holocaust survivor. During the Holocaust, he was like 14 years old or something, and he was taken in by a family and protected. And that family the guy was high up in the Nazi party, but he didn't agree with the ideals of the party. He was protecting people, obviously. He protected George Soros. He lied about it and pretended that Soros was, a fellow German or whatever. He was Hungarian, I believe. So Soros went with him while he did Nazi business, but Soros himself was completely exonerated from any wrongdoing. And the guy was also exonerated from wrongdoing, from my understanding. Like, the guy he was lying the entire time and doing only exactly what he needed to convince the party that he believed in what he was doing or whatever. And all the while saving people's lives, So anyways, that's why they make these claims about Soros. Soros was in the Holocaust, a Holocaust survivor, and to some low degree, I guess, kind of participated in the Holocaust as a young teenager because that's how he needed to survive. But he was like being protected by others and all this other stuff. So anyway, they're just lying about Soros, trying to twist it around and make him out to be like this big evil genius. It's just completely made up. Wow, I almost jumped off the side there on Breath of the Wild. So yeah, keep listening here. I just wanted to clear that up because that's complete bullshit.
It's a big deal, but she has a lot of courage. Soros went on 60 Minutes. He went on NPR, and he said, best part of my life was working for Hitler.
No, he said he didn't say that. That's completely made up. I don't feel like getting into that whole thing right now, but obviously Alex Jones is twisting this around, making it seem like something that it's not. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to point that out.
and I don't have any guilt for myself because I was just filling a slot. Well,
right, exactly. He felt no guilt about following this guy around and while he did his Nazi party runs, because there's nothing he could have done. If he came out and said, I'm Jewish, and blew the lid off of it, he would be murdered. Seriously, this is the most clear-cut example of morality through intent that I have ever seen. But Alex Jones doesn't want you to see it that way. He wants you to see him as an evil monster when he simply is not.
That's like saying, if you put a gun to my head and say, go kill people or I'm going to kill you, I'm going to say, pull the freaking trigger, dude. But
George Soros never killed anybody is the thing. He never killed anybody.
The point is that
from my understanding, the worst that they did was go through a bunch of stuff that had been taken from Jews and sort through it or something like that, like a bunch of possessions that had been taken, like wedding rings and various different gold and stuff like that. So they were doing tasks for the Nazi party. That's absolutely true. But Soros never killed anybody. And his participation in it was exonerated.
Yeah, I give up responsibility because somebody else told me to do it. Well, that's like the Nazis following orders.
That's not what happened.
Because Hitler told him to. That doesn't float the boat at Nuremberg. Their asses got hung. And
then why didn't Soros get in trouble? He was exonerated. Okay, they took Nazi war crimes very seriously in Nuremberg. Why did Soros get out of it? Because he was innocent.
So. And so I have this weird paradox where I don't live off them, but I have pride over it. Both my grandfathers were in the Army Air Corps. One was a hero, ran a bunch of missions. One only did a few. His plane got damaged, crash landed, broke a bunch of bones, and barely lived. But one of them they were both great guys, but one of them was a real war hero. North Africa, Italy, Germany, volunteered mission after mission, all of it. And it didn't have the media call me a Nazi when I almost don't exist because both my grandfathers almost died.
Okay, what your grandfathers did is completely irrelevant to what you did, Alex. Alex Jones is a Nazi, as far as I'm concerned. He's done some really horrific, messed up stuff. Borderline Nazi. At the very least, he's white supremacist. I'll put it that way. Maybe calling him a full-blown Nazi isn't fair. I mean, I've seen him sit down and interview Nazis, but he's a Nazi sympathizer, at least.
World War II, and then to see him saying it was happy making time. It was the best time of my life. I have no guilt though, because I was just filling a slot, kind of like the market, and like you're a robot. Like,
well, that's probably how he dealt with the fact that he was going around working for these horrific fucking people that did this terrible shit. So yeah, that would make sense. He's talking about I think a 1999 interview he did. I actually watched that whole interview, and that's where he came out as an atheist. He said, I'm of Jewish descent, but I don't believe in any of this stuff, you know. And naturally, coming out as an atheist means that people are going to, like, destroy your reputation. That's how it works. That's also around the time that Soros started funding Democratic political campaigns. I get so tired of how ready they are to take credit for their ancestors' accomplishments and yell, but we never owned slaves when held to account. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point. There's no consistency, no moral consistency. My grandfathers did this, my grandfathers did that, but I'm not to blame for anything that happened back then. In all seriousness, they're not to blame for the ownership of slaves, and they also don't deserve credit for what their grandparents did in World War II. You are your own man. You are an individual that stands independent of everybody else. This is something that they scream about all the time, but they don't seem to really get, honestly.
Hitler was in charge, so I did what he said. And then literally, I get to be called a Nazi by the ADL when I have nothing to do with this?
Oh, God, I thought the ADL called him a Nazi. I don't know if you guys are aware of the ADL, but it's the Anti-Defamation League. So they're pretty good. They've been lambasted as being political because they've come out against right-wing figures naturally, because the right is who seems to be cozying up with Hitler the most. I don't feel that they are political. Not really. Alex Jones is a right-wing American radio host and prolific anti-government conspiracy theorist. I was hoping to find, did they even call him a Nazi? Here you go, right here. Jones hosted Richard Spencer. Yeah, that's true. Richard Spencer is a Nazi, a self-avowed known Nazi. White supremacist, anti-Semitic alt-right figure, giving him a platform to express his white nationalist beliefs. That's not even the worst of it, dude. Alex Jones had Kanye West and Nick Fuentes on, who literally said that they love Hitler. Dude, I love Alex Jones's backgrounds. I'm not a fan of this one with Kanye, but the green, I love that shit, dude. That's really nice. Anyway, listen to this. This is from, I think, December 1st, 2022.
Seriously, I've really studied a lot of history, plus I had family that was there. And so, I mean, I don't think Hitler was a good guy. I get the Hugo Boss uniforms, amazing. But I mean, just because you're in love with the design, you're a designer. Can we just kind of say, like, you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
No. There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler.
He's doing his. Look at Alex Jones's face, dude.
A lot of things.
I love it, man. That's so funny. Oh, God. That's Kanye West saying he loves Hitler. Okay. So, anyway, Richard Spencer's appearance on Alex Jones, bottom of the barrel, dude. I don't even care. I care about that. That's fucking psychotic. So he's had, like, Nazis on his show. It's the bottom line here. And now, they didn't call Alex Jones a Nazi. They said he has, given the Nazi movement air by inviting them on his show. That's fair? I mean, this is the ADL's article on him. I don't know, where else would I look for them to call him a Nazi? They didn't call him a Nazi as far as I can tell, did they? Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Also, this is a propagandistic image of Alex Jones. They should have used a normal image of him, in my opinion. People use terrible images like this for thumbnails and screenshots and stuff. I don't do this shit. You may find a thumbnail of mine where somebody has a hilarious face, but I will never get a screen cap of them looking evil or angry or whatever like that. You'll never find it. I feel like it's immoral. I feel like it's wrong. There's one example I saw recently. Look, this is one that I'm talking about right here. This one is pretty bad, this thumbnail. This is her looking like she's crazy. I don't do that anymore. Also, I don't insult people anymore. Activist mommy, more stupid than we thought. I don't do that anymore. That's not great. But, you know, it's in my history, so I'm going to leave it there. But I feel like the ADL should have picked a different picture to represent Jones than this. This is bad. Anyway, yeah, the ADL is a fine organization. I don't even know what he's talking about. He's just upset that, you know, people called him out for hosting full-blown actual real Nazis that said that they love Hitler on his program.
Nazi by the ADL when I have nothing to do with this? It makes me angry that this is going on, and it disgusts me. And then you got deplatformed for daring to say George Soros said he worked for Hitler. George Soros said that on 60 Minutes. So I guess the bigger question is, why did he say it? And then why aren't you allowed to say he said it?
Okay, this is completely BS. Like, this didn't happen. This is a misrepresentation of the entire situation, obviously. I don't feel like going through and watching, like, the whole interview with Soros, but, yeah, it's made up.
Well, he said that he was 14 years old. So what I said was, well, you know, you can't hold a 14-year-old slave responsible for what the slave meant.
There you go. Wow, Roseanne is actually taking the correct position on this. But again, Soros didn't do anything bad, to my knowledge. You cannot hold a 14-year-old slave responsible for what they did. But to my knowledge, he didn't do anything bad anyway.
Does, but I said, okay, so we won't talk about that, but we will talk about everything you did as an adult, which was just as bad, if not worse.
No. Everything that he's done as an adult is fund Democratic campaigns. That's what they're angry about. In their defense, like I said, he has shorted stocks and shorted currencies, and that's not fantastic. He got his money in an unethical way. I'm really not a fan of that one. But, you know, at least he's working for the right causes, and at least his method of earning money was not, like, destructive to the environment, like the Koch brothers. It's got to be tough to get a screen cap of Alex Jones not looking angry. That's an interesting point. I've never really had a problem finding a screen cap of people like not looking angry or not looking whatever. Like, it's not too bad, but here's the thing with with video, usually with video and TVs and whatever else, there are buffer frames in between like the regular frames. Like, a video is just a compilation of like 30 different images per second, right? So there's usually a buffer frame that's drawn by the render when the video was created that's kind of like a fade between the two original frames, and it makes the video look smoother. So something I've noticed is it's really hard to get a good screenshot of somebody if you're going through a video where they don't look ridiculous. It to some degree, right? Like look right here. Look at Roseanne. You know, I just stopped in one spot and she's like pursing her lips and her eyes are closed. It's just a weird scene, right? Like literally anywhere that I stop, it looks weird. It's hard to find a good spot that doesn't look weird. But it's possible, right? Like, this one looks okay. But I'll tell you somebody that I simply cannot find a good shot of. Someone I simply can't find a good shot of in video form is Kenneth Copeland. The dude looks ridiculous no matter where I stop. So I don't even try with that dude anymore. Anyway, let's keep listening here.
You collapsed whole societies, which led to, you know,
let me step back a little bit.
That, but we will talk about everything you did as an adult, which was just as bad, if not worse. You collapsed whole societies, which led to, you know, death of people all over the planet. Well,
I don't know that he collapsed whole societies. What's she talking about? He bet against the dollar, or no, I'm sorry, bet against the British pound, I think, famously, which made him like a ton of money. You know, and that was immoral. That caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. But he didn't collapse whole societies. What? What's she talking about?
You financially collapse an entire nation. That leads to a lot of death.
He didn't do that.
And you do it to make money. That's, you did that as an adult and not as a Nazi slave. So
I think he shorted the Indian currency also, if I remember correctly.
let's just talk about what you did after. Because what he did after, he didn't have, well, he still has puppet masters. He's just a face in the window.
Well, that's interesting because usually they don't view him, they as in like the right, Alex Jones and others. Usually the right doesn't view him as one of the puppets. They view him as the puppet master, typically. I'm kind of surprised that they're saying that he's just the face in the window. Okay.
Let's just really talk real. He's just the face they put in the window. Like all the rest.
That's from that old interview in 1999, I think.
Everybody we see, they're just the faces in the window that.
He's just a compliant servant of the devil. By the way, the crew probably can't find it.
Alex, we don't know their names and we never see their faces. They hide in Switzerland.
They do.
Okay, now they're talking about the World Economic Forum, I believe, the WEF. That would be like Klaus Schwab and others. It's this whole conspiracy theory called the Great Reset. It's all just nonsense. They're just going in circles, like conspiracy circles 24/7. Absolutely nuts.
Can you queue up? You probably can't find it, but 2 weeks ago I played Soros. He made an announcement in Germany. It's like an hour long, but he literally can't even talk now, but he doesn't know when to give up. He's just up there like bumbling around.
Well, he doesn't.
Well, he's like 107 years old or some shit, right? So, of course, he's on the older side. They always notice when older people have trouble talking when it's somebody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport, but they completely ignore it, pretend it's not happening when it's Donald Trump that can't speak correctly.
Have a soul, you can tell that.
Soros doesn't have a soul, okay.
Can't you?
Yeah. Exactly. So I want to say this. I don't hate George Soros. He's gone.
Oh, he hates George Soros.
Whatever happened, maybe he was a human at some point. I forgive him, not because I'm even supporting what he did. I'm against what he did, but I think God does want us to just realize he's a fallen human that we couldn't save, and he's a loss.
Here's what I say to him, and I say it to all the billionaires there, because, you can't be a billionaire without hurting a lot of people. There's no way.
That's an interesting take. I disagree. I think I disagree. Now, there shouldn't be billionaires, period. They should not. You should lose everything past $1 billion. You make anything more than $1 billion, it goes straight into the government, who then redistributes it to the poor, like Robin Hood style. In my opinion, that's what should happen. But I can think of some ethical ways that somebody could make $1 billion. It doesn't have to be built on exploitation. It could be built off of any number of other potential things. Like, you build a product that a lot of people like, and you pay your employees really well. I'm not seeing anything inherently wrong with that, but okay. I mean, that's an interesting take from somebody that's on the right, like Roseanne.
But to all the billionaires out there, you could, with your money, you could save every kid on this planet and help us turn it into heaven. You don't need all that money.
Agreed. And there are actually billionaires out there who are no longer billionaires because they gave up all of their money like that to various different causes, the poor and stuff. Seriously, there are actually some good ones out there.
And if you would do that and help people instead of hurt them, we would gladly welcome you back into the fold of human beings, and you would be a hero too. And
George Soros actually gives a lot of his money away. In fact, Soros gave out like all of the money that he made from 1970 something to like all the way to like 2003. The new amount of money that he has now, like the billions that he has at this moment, are from a new hedge fund that he started in, I think, 2003 or something. So yeah, I mean, the dude has given away a lot of his money. You just don't like the causes he's given it to, which is to say Democratic candidates.
Get so much love and acceptance, and people would just marvel at you. And
exactly, we're trying to give them amnesty.
That's what you want. And so, do the right thing and ask God to forgive you. And after that happens, you know, you will make amends to the human beings you've harmed, and then you can come back with us and we'll have a lot of fun.
You think that anybody that you have demonized to this degree is going to donate to anything connected to you? That's absolutely absurd.
No, I agree. I'm ready. And I'm not on some high horse. I've been when I've been wrong. It wasn't on purpose. We would love to see them. Well, where is our Saul of Tarsus, you know, becoming Paul? Where are those defectors to our side? I mean, I'm starting to see some of it, but
Well, you saw Elon Musk. I think he's one of them.
Yeah, Elon Musk used to have a really good reputation among everybody. Just a really smart guy who knew what he was doing and wanted to make the world better. And then the facade fell when he opened his big fucking mouth. When he started talking, everyone realized, wow, this guy is actually really stupid. And he's like, he doesn't know anything, doesn't seem to know a single thing about anything at all. Like, what the hell? Especially, like, he claims to have coded PayPal, like written the code for it. Now, that's not true at all. That is not how it happened in any way. Now, he may not claim that, but that's the belief anyways. He was simply a venture capitalist. And when people started asking him questions about Twitter and what was wrong with it from a technical perspective and why he thought that the whole thing should be rebuilt, they realized how little he knows about programming. He knows almost nothing. He knows just enough to use buzzwords, and that's about it.
let's go to
So
break.
far.
Let's go to break because you may not need a break, but I got to go pee-pee.
Go for it.
We're going to go to break for a couple.
This guy is so fucking weird, dude. What a weird thing to say to somebody. And just why? Just why?
Minutes. You guys hear whatever you want. We got a lot of great stuff. Roseanne Barr is on. I mean, I've seen a lot of your interviews, watched a lot of your podcasts when you were doing it. It was all very informative, but I think this is a very special interview.
I'm showing myself who I really am because I feel safe with you, Alex, and thank you for that opportunity. And
Well,
Okay.
I want to say
Support.
I've always liked you, but in person, you are way more. You're impressive very impressive in person. I can feel your aura.
and so are you, Alex. Thank you.
I can feel your aura. Okay, are they done stroking each other off or what?
Appreciate you. All right, we'll go to tape here for a couple minutes, and we're going to come back and just really go over this with Roseanne Barr. It's an amazing interview. Stay with us.
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. If I were the devil.
Okay, that's weird. I don't know what this is or oh my god, this is just bizarre, dude. All right, let's skip forward and see if we can. Just a big ass commercial, apparently. Okay, here we go. We're back. Hey, beautiful shot of the Statue of Liberty. I love it. That's Manhattan over there. Check it out. That's where I live. Right there. No, this is not actually. I think this may be Staten Island, not Manhattan. Manhattan. This shot is being taken from Manhattan, looks like. Or near, from Manhattan's on the other side. That's a beautiful shot, though. I love it. New York City is just one of a kind place. You never see anything like it. All right, let's keep listening here.
They're going to drop all them ads.
Roseanne, you're here. I've tried to get here for years. We're live right now.
Dude, well, I don't know what's happening. Let's just jump forward here.
The average person saying, what do we do then? What's going to come next? I think what you said, jack into the Holy Spirit, jack into God, and ask God what they should do.
Okay, here's what you do. You know, everybody's looking for change from the top down, looking to our so-called leaders who are all just paid prostitutes of cartels.
Our leaders are paid prostitutes of cartels. Wow, that's... All right. I see she's taking off the hat, too. Is this like taking off the gloves? She's about to get real?
We're going to make the change happen from the bottom up. We have to make it happen at the grassroots. That means
That's the only way change can happen, honestly. Well, I mean, billionaires are at the very top, and they can make change happen from the top down, but it's very expensive and difficult and doesn't always end well. Grassroots is the only way that we have to make things happen, so yeah.
you got to run.
Top down is called AstroTurf. Bottom up is called grassroots. AstroTurf is where billionaires try to change the culture by hiring actors to go to board meetings and protest or whatever other thing. And both sides accuse each other of astroturfing, which I'm sure to some degree both sides probably do, but this is really a billionaire thing that happens. And many of the billionaires are on the right. Not all. Like Soros is on the left, but he's just about the only left-wing billionaire. And he's not even in the left. He's kind of, more in the center left than anything. There are no billionaires that are good, honestly.
For office, you got to go in there to the school boards and sit like people are actually doing it too. People are taking this government into their own hands and realizing it is a government of by and for the people.
And that scared the system 2 years ago when they sent the FBI to harass people that were protesting school boards peacefully.
That did not happen. He's completely misinterpreting the situation. What actually happened was there was an AstroTurf effort. Billionaires were funding an effort to get people to threaten teachers, threaten board members, follow them to their cars in the middle of the night, drive by their houses, take pictures through their windows, throw rocks at their windows, that type of thing. I'm dead serious. Billionaires were paying people to do this stuff, to harass board members and scare the shit out of them, which is causing them to quit. The school board members were quitting, and they were being filled in with, billionaire chosen people, or they were holding new elections, which gave billionaires a chance to step in. And so this is like a terrorist action. This is a terrorist event, a domestic terrorist attempt to stop people from, to replace school board members. And the Department of Justice released a memo that said, if this stuff doesn't stop, we're going to start arresting people. And overnight, it stopped immediately. This is not, parents coming and protesting at school boards. That wasn't the problem at any point. That's not what the Department of Justice is complaining about. This was domestic terrorist attacks funded by billionaires that stopped immediately when the Department of Justice memo came out. So, anyways, yeah, just completely made up. He has no idea what he's talking about. Or maybe he does, and he just wants to set out to mix the issue up and confuse it. That could be, too.
Yeah, the moms and dads.
Calling them terrorists because they're scared of that.
Yeah.
That's your community. You run that. That's your family. You pay those taxes, not some, IMF World Bank thing.
That's right. And those taxes, everybody, and they've also, well, I won't go into that, but
no, please go into that. I'm interested.
It's we pay taxes to get something back, like roads, schools, hospitals.
Okay, that's an aspect of it. You don't pay taxes to get something back. You must misunderstand. You pay taxes because you got something from this government, because you live here, because your kids went to public school here, because you have benefited so immensely from the society that you live in. You have no idea. I'm talking to Roseanne right now. Roseanne has no idea how she has benefited from this society. If she had it all yanked out from under her, she would certainly understand. But yeah, you should get something out of taxes, roads, bridges, public schools, all kinds of different things. Those aren't the only things by any stretch of the imagination. And we do and we do get those things.
And such. Instead, they're taking our taxes and going out and giving it to, they're putting public money into private pockets is what.
Okay, that's literally all that taxes do. Put public money into private pockets. Yes, that's how money works. It's called velocity.
They're doing. And then they go and sell weapons to both sides of every skirmish across the seas, and they're all...
That's not true. That's happened historically. That's fair enough. But that's not happening now.
Making money on all of it. I won't even go into that, how, they start wars and arm both sides, and pretty soon everything has a KFC and a Banana Republic. I mean, come on. It's just really sickening to me. That's our tax money, and that means it belongs in our communities that pay those taxes.
Okay, this is Russian propaganda that she's repeating right now. She's trying to. I'm assuming that this came out of the QAnon movement that she follows. She's trying to make people think that assisting in wars is a bad thing. The Ukraine war couldn't possibly be a better use of our money. Really. It is. You trying to tell me that that the United States' primary adversary over the past 100 years is getting destroyed and exposed, and not one American life has to be lost to expose it, and you want to stop? Who else could have come up with this but Russia? This is the clearest cut example of Russian propaganda I think I've ever seen.
It belongs for roads, for police, for the people who pay those.
And notice that's the things they're all defunding.
And so what she's talking about here are local issues. Yes, there are local things that money should be used for, absolutely. There are also federal things that money should be used for. It's not just police. We need a federal government.
Infrastructure, the police, not the police are perfect, but they're defunding it to cause chaos.
No one is defunding anything. This is completely made up.
But they thought they would cause chaos and then blame America.
Who is they?
The average American gets it's an outside force doing this. The globalists aren't very happy right now because they're getting the blame.
Well, it's their fault. Like it's the billionaires' fault that, you don't get $1 billion without screwing over innumerable amounts of people.
I disagree. I think it's possible to do. Now, every billionaire out there right now, I think, has screwed over an innumerable amount of people. So that's fair enough, I suppose. But I think it's possible, right? Is it possible at least?
You just don't. That's why one thing that bugs me about Kanye or Ye, whatever.
Oh, boy. Oh, so Alex Jones had Kanye on not too long ago to talk about how much he loves Hitler. Kanye was a billionaire until he said he loved Hitler, and then Adidas yanked their deal with him and fucking ruined him financially. Love it. He deserved that 100%. Nazis deserve to be destitute, in my opinion. That's just me.
Hey, talk about being a billionaire, Kanye. Where are their children sewing them clothes? Come on, man. You got $1 billion or had. It isn't moral to have $1 billion.
Well,
dude, I love it, dude. Oh my God, I'm such a fan of what she's saying right now. This is fantastic. Also, Alex Jones cannot be having a good time right now, right? I would bet anything that he's like hoping that Kanye is not listening to this right now because he knows Kanye watches Alex Jones.
I'm not even attacking Ye over having money, but my issue was,
oh shit,
I talked to him and I said, I want to come on and talk about love. He goes, yeah, I want to talk about love. And he got here in a mask and did this whole Hitler thing. And I went, hey, Hitler blew up Poland that did nothing. Like, let's just believe your postulation that Jews are evil and deserve to be killed. I don't agree with that. It's wrong. But what about Poland? Didn't have an answer. I said, what about my grandfathers? My dad's dad was in the Army Air Corps, flew a bunch of missions, volunteered for more, and then he was an officer in the invasion of Germany, and he saw the death camps. He would hardly talk about it, and he saw piles of dead bodies everywhere, black birds eating all these dead people, literally bulldozers, piles of dead bodies. Worse.
Yeah, I don't think Kanye has any real concept of what actually happened in the war and what Hitler did. I think he has like some idea of what happened, but I don't think he fully gets it. And I think he has a minimal education on it and just fucking hates Jews and will find any reason to spread that hate and latch on to any movement that also hated them. Does Kanye even comprehend how Hitler viewed black/African people? I doubt it. I doubt he has any clue. Which is embarrassing and sad. It just goes to show you he knows nothing about the movement that he supports, Did you know you can't name but one famous scientist that believed in atheism? Believed in atheism, huh? Okay, interesting. I appreciate the input. Okay. Wow, I just don't even know what to say to that. Atheism is not a belief. Atheism is a lack of belief. There are plenty of scientists who did not believe in God, and that makes them atheists. That's what atheism is, not believing in God. That was really a weird thing to say. Thank you so much, My Balls Are Smalls, though. I appreciate the input. All right, let's keep listening to Alex Jones here.
Same thing you saw on TV. He told me that when I was a little kid. He told my dad that. And he said, yeah, like, you know, it's just your grandfather. And to me, it's like, I don't need to watch PBS and know him.
Okay, he didn't say that's just your grandfather. Like, Kanye didn't have any substantive input on any of this stuff. He just said, I don't care. I still hate Jews. And then anytime, you know, Alex Jones said, well, I disagree with you. I think Hitler was bad. He said, look, we're going to stop dissing the Nazis all the time. That's what he said, really. I'm not joking. I watched the entire interview, not on here with you guys, but on my own time. I watched the entire fucking thing, and it was just something else, dude. Let me just pull up a couple of relevant clips here so that you guys know what I'm talking about. I took notes on the entire thing, too. Those notes are available on my Dropbox. You can reach it by going to my website, owenmorgan.com, just clicking in the top right corner, YouTube clips. It'll take you to my Dropbox with all the clips. All of the, it has the clips, it has the notes, it has the everything on there. Images and whatever, screenshots, anything I've ever covered on my channels before, any of them, it's on there, up to 2021, I think.
You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well,
okay, that is him saying, well, actually, you know, I kind of am a little bit.
I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you.
Yeah, at this point they played something from American History X, I think it's called.
Can love, you know, us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician.
That's nonsense. Hitler did not invent highways or the microphone. It's completely made up.
You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that.
No, you can. You can talk about the things that Hitler did that were good for Germany or whatever. When it all boils down to it, though, Hitler wasn't trying to do anything good for anybody but himself, really. And for some of the German people or for the Aryan race. Everything that he did good was everything good that he did hurt somebody else. That's nationalism, by the way. That's a difference between nationalism and patriotism. Patriotism is trying to help your country, and nationalism is helping your country by hurting somebody else. So anyways, that's why nationalism is a bad thing. But that's neither here nor there.
I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table.
Okay, sure. I can get on board with that. Some people were also horrifically evil, in addition to some of the good things that they brought. And Hitler was one of those people. The good does not outweigh the bad with Hitler. I'm sorry. That's just what it is, man.
Especially Hitler.
Especially Hitler. Not also Hitler, but him particularly.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
So anyway, that was his interview with Alex Jones. It was bad.
Hitler was bad, killed a bunch of people. My grandfather saw it. And the thing to just disregard that as, you know, and I'm not even, and I don't agree with his censorship either. I think things like that need to be heard.
Well, it really pissed me off when he was talking, him and Dave Chappelle saying, the Jews. That really pissed me off. Because, I mean, that was classic.
Well, it's like the left saying, the white people. Like, what is it my fault if some Jeffrey Dahmer eats people because he's white? Like, I didn't do that. Or like, oh, a black guy killed a white person. That's not a black people's fault.
That's what I was going to say. That'd be like me coming on here and saying, the blacks. I mean, come on. there's millions of kinds of Jewish people. That's what I was here to prove. There are lots of different.
Yeah, she claims to be Jewish. I don't even know if this is true. In fact, I suspect it's not. I suspect she kind of believes herself to be like one of God's chosen people, and that's kind of the basis for her belief that she is Jewish, because this is a Sabbath that she's like on this interview doing this right now. This is a Sabbath. It's a Saturday. And she's out here drinking scotch, it seemed like. I don't even know what it was she's drinking exactly. And swearing, saying God damn, talking about Satan having a plan for people and hell and all this other stuff. So I don't know. It's so hard to know for sure. I guess it's still possible she is Jewish legitimately, but just the way that she talks, the things that she said, it didn't really seem to me like she's actually Jewish.
Kinds of Jewish people. The kind of Judaism I practice is based in, North Africa. It's Iraqi, it's Sephardic. So, to say
Well, they could say, I've studied the anthropological angle of that. I believe Sephardic Judaism is probably the oldest purist.
Of course it is. And I was raised that way.
And Aaron Russo was a Sephardic.
Interesting. So she says she's Sephardic Jewish? I'm unfamiliar. I guess that's kind of like another version, like Ashkenazi or whatever.
Jew, a beautiful soul.
Oh my God, wasn't he? He was a prophet.
Yeah, he was super smart.
Oh my God, he really saw it.
He loved people. You could feel it.
Yeah.
That was so. It's this paradox. Any powerful group, and all humans have powerful groups, but the Jews are powerful. Let's admit it. The whole culture of the world's based on.
No. This isn't good. Claiming that like Jews are like special, they're powerful because of their ethnicity or their religion or whatever. This is not. No. Nobody is better or worse than anybody else because of their ethnicity or their religion or whatever. This is a bad path. This is a bad way of viewing things.
And so there's good ones and there's bad.
Okay, hang on. Just because she's born a Jew, she's acting Christian. BS nonsense, hate, which isn't Judaism. It seems to me that she was espousing very Christian views. And so I suspect, she said she's raised Jewish, so I guess that makes her Jewish, but it seemed like it was possible to me that she was pretending to and claiming to be Jewish, even though she's not. Like, maybe she's from some weird little sect of Christianity that believes that they're Jewish when they're not. Like, God, what's it called? Messianic Jews? It's just a Christian group that acts like Jewish people. They're not actually Jewish. She name-checked Sephardic Judaism. Okay.
But we never say, like if my father, who's a great guy, is hypothetical, if he murdered somebody 50 years ago, I didn't do what my father did.
Wow, that's really interesting. Like 15 minutes ago, he was saying, my grandfather fought in World War II, and you're calling me a Nazi? Really? Really? This dude has no, consistency of thought, no cohesion across all of his beliefs. It's hilarious.
Right. That's collective punishment, which is part of communism.
Total communism.
And
what? What does collective punishment have to do with communism? Yeah, there was weird collective punishment stuff in Russia or in the USSR. They had some weird shit going on there. That is not communism, though. What?
And that is...
Which is reparations and all this crap.
It's satanic. And
reparations are satanic.
Marx himself loved the devil.
I talk about that, and so did Lenin.
What? Marx loved the devil. Lenin loved the devil. What the hell is happening right now?
Yeah, they did. They loved the devil because they considered Lucifer to be the bearer of light. The person that, they got it all.
Okay, I have no idea what she's talking about, but Lucifer literally means light bringer, for what it's worth. So I don't know of a single person that quote unquote worships Satan, but okay, I guess.
Backwards. But that's all coming up this week in Purim. Purim tells the whole story of how these people...
Talk about this special Jewish holiday right now.
Well,
you were going to give some Jewish secrets. Tell us.
Well, I did. I told...
Jewish secrets. Again, there are no Jewish secrets. This is from Kenneth Copeland, too. Kenneth Copeland claims that there are Jewish mystical secrets about making money, and that's why Jews are rich and nobody else is, because God gave them this secret access to money and blah, 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 blah. It's all just bullshit. All of it's bullshit. Jews are normal people like everybody else. There's nothing special about them.
No, you did, but you have got the floor. Don't let me interrupt because I'm bad. You got the floor.
No, you're not bad. Well, it's just about unscrambling the scramble. That's what it's about. Reversing the reversal. Putting things
Okay, I don't know what that means.
right. And, these people, these Satanists, what they did was reverse.
Jews do not believe in Satan. Like, they don't really... I guess Canaanites had a concept for Satan, Baal, or Marduk, or whatever, but Canaanites were not Jews. They were just people that lived near the Jews in that vicinity at the time. Like, I don't even know what she's talking about. She says Satan. Who are you referring to, Roseanne? Specifically, what does she mean when she says this? Satanists.
Everything of power. I mean, in this world right now, how it works, it looks like they got black magician. I'm talking about power. There's black magic and white magic as they define it.
Who is they?
Right?
She really should look up her own religion before spouting this. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Apparently she is Jewish. Apparently she's raised that way, but she doesn't seem to follow any of the beliefs or tenets. This is just strange.
But that don't have nothing to do with God.
Sorry, let me step back. Listen to her again. I mean, nothing she's saying makes any sense, but let's just try to take it all in context to maybe make sense of it.
Black magician, I'm talking about power. There's black magic and white magic as they define it. Right?
No.
But that don't have nothing to do with God. Nothing to do with God. And what they did was take what was holy in the temple, I'm talking about that, because what was holy about the temple was that it was built on the human mind, the chambers of the human mind, of meditation, and the gates you have to go through to get to the clear space that you were talking about. The clear space, the still small voice, where you connect, where you plug it into the wall, you know what I mean? That's what they're really afraid of, is that we remember our connection to the divine, who we are, that we remember who we are. And, they hate that so bad.
Who is they? I don't understand. What is she even talking about? I am so confused.
Because then that would... It's like in that movie, Moana. I love that movie. I've seen it so many times.
Isn't that movie based in Hawaii or something? I think it is. That's probably why she likes it so much, because it's Hawaiian, and she lives in Hawaii now and stuff too.
Where she gives the heart back to Te Fiti, and suddenly everything dead blooms again and comes back to life. Did you see that movie? I love that movie. It's funny that Disney did it. It was...
Right, because Disney is evil in their minds, right?
Creeped me out, really, that Disney did it. But
why does that creep her out? Because they did something good that wasn't satanic? What? I don't understand.
That's a whole other subject. I did work for Disney. Let's talk about the episode I wrote when Disney bought ABC later.
Okay, let's.
But anyway, they're really afraid that of people who are connected to God. They don't like that. They don't like it in Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, in anywhere, or Buddhism.
They want us to go to the priest, which Christ was the opposite of that.
They want us to bow to man.
Who is they? Again, I don't understand. Who are we talking about?
Right?
Absolutely.
No.
Well, I can tell you a story going back about 3 years ago. I was under major attack. But I always thought was strong enough to do it. Yeah, God's there and God supports me, but I'm strong enough. And I went through a lot of stuff, and I was having really deep spiritual experiences and like giving knowledge I couldn't even understand. And
your mom and I had deep experiences.
Things. And I said, God, give me peace to be strong. Let me really see what it is. I never really prayed for something. I always said, "What's your will, God?" But I did say prayers. Will you show me what it is and give me the knowledge? And I remember a couple of weeks after saying that prayer every day, I had a series of dreams. And I know the different feelings. It's like a different flavor you've never tasted. You finally taste a new flavor. You go, God, I've never had that new flavor.
Yeah.
This was, in this experience, was 100% real. And I couldn't even see the angel, but it was like it was there behind me, showing me the universe and other civilizations and things that had happened and how it works and everything. Just total knowledge downloaded, and like feeling totally complete. Not ecstasy. It was beyond ecstasy. It was like timelessness, like I'm good forever. This is a good spot right here. But then, well, I got a curiosity. I want to look into what happened here or why this happened.
It sounds like he's doing the old candy flip to me, right? He was taking acid and ecstasy at the same time. Guaranteed good trip. Is that what he's doing? That's what it sounds like.
I could see like civilizations that destroyed themselves and individuals that did. They were like walled up tombs. God gave what they wanted. They were their own little thing.
Were the walls breathing when you were experiencing this, Alex? Could you see tracers when you move your hand across your face? Were there like multiple hands that followed behind it?
It was like old men just sifting sand forever. Like they weren't even, they were cut off from God. They wanted to be God. And it was so powerful. And I said, can I just stay here? Can I? No, you've got stuff to do, but you're already here. And then it happened again. And I got a little touch of it again. But that feeling is undoubtedly outside my body. There's no connection to anything ever experienced like that.
Honestly, what he's talking about really does sound like he was on acid or something. In all seriousness, it sounds like something that somebody would experience when they're tripping. A lot of the time when you're tripping on like acid or something or mushrooms or whatever, it's like you have, hallucinations, like visual hallucinations. Like you can see weird visual aberrations. You look in a mirror and your eyes are way bigger than they should be and stuff like that. But a lot of it is just, it's not hallucination, it's more delusion. Like you start formulating these ideas and beliefs about various different things, and you think that this is how the world works. Like, I remember one time I went to my buddy's house, and we did a bunch of acid and ecstasy at the same time. And not that I'm glorifying this, FYI. I want to make it clear that this is not good. It's not good. I don't think it's right to do drugs at all, ever. I want to make that very clear. My dad glorified drugs, and it ended up with me doing drugs as a result. So I don't want to make anybody think there's anything glorifying about this. It's not. But anyway, I went to his house, and he got a popsicle out, and he gave me the popsicle, and I was looking at it. And as I was looking at the popsicle, I was thinking to myself, this popsicle is way better than the ones that I used to eat back in the day when I was little. Like, this is a bigger, nicer, better popsicle. It's huge. And it's like so like full of flavor and everything. And I was like, I get it. This isn't a real popsicle. Like, it's not like a normal popsicle, And when I said, I get it, it's not a real popsicle, my buddy and everybody in the room was like, no, it's real. It's a real popsicle. It's just a normal popsicle. They didn't want me to like fall into a rabbit hole thinking. Anyway, so you have like delusions or misunderstandings or like misinterpretations about the world. And, your mind will even create like entirely new scenarios around various different things. Like I said, there are physical hallucinations, but in my experience, the hallucinations were mostly just like the wall waves or, the surface of objects wave, or there's a rainbow around every edge and curve everywhere. I could see like, my monitor, there's like an edge between the monitor and the wall. Like the wall is white, the monitor is black. And I would see a rainbow kind of colorful edge around everything. Or when I move my hand in front of my face, I would kind of see tracers of the hand, like a few shadows of hands behind it, that type of thing. Those are the visual ones that I experienced, but I never experienced full-blown, like, people standing in front of me talking to me that were not actually there. I don't know if anyone else ever experienced that. is an interesting link between CES or CE5 and LCD trip, so I was told. Did you get the Tool album art visuals? Yeah, I would say so. I would say I did. It's fair. I've never done mushrooms, but I've done acid many times. Well, not many. 5 or 6. Say 5 or 6. Like I said, acid's not good. Drugs are not good. I'm not glorifying them. I haven't done it in years and years and years. I sometimes have auditory hallucinations. Sometimes when I'm in a crowd of people, I think I hear my name called and I react to it. Well, for what that's worth, Chandler, there are a number of different possible explanations for that. If you have more than 3 auditory or visual hallucinations per month, you might have schizophrenia. That's one of the symptoms of it. If it's less than that, it's most likely the result of something completely unrelated. For example, I had visual hallucinations when I was a teenager, and that was the result of abuse. Like, if you're abused, then you will then it's possible you'll have those hallucinations. Like, out of the corner of your eye, you see something, or you hear some sound happening, or whatever. That could be the case. Do you have it more than 3 times a month? If so, then there are you should look at the DSM. Look up the DSM and see what it says about schizophrenia. My brother has schizophrenia. Okay, got a little off track there. Let's continue on with with Roseanne and Alex Jones telling us about his trip.
Because it's so intense, you can't even, it's so intense you're done. It's like you're just like, I am complete. This is absolute connection to everything. There's no time. It's like...
Yeah, so what he's describing sounds like an acid trip, right? Or that he did a candy flip. He took acid and ecstasy at the same time. Is it just me?
I'm here. And that is what the enemy knows they've cut off from. Yeah, they get to go against God. Yeah, they get to do bad things. Yeah, they get to play God, but they've been cut off from that.
I know what you mean.
She has no idea what he means.
You felt that?
Yes, when I was 3, I felt it first when I was 3 years old. I was in my grandmother's bathroom, and...
Okay, if you're having hallucinations, delusions, or whatever else regularly, like I said, more than 3 times per month, and it's not, medicine assisted, it's very possible you have schizophrenia. Not that that's bad. I don't want anyone to think that that's a bad thing. It's not. It's something you got to get checked, because it's really hard to function with that. Not impossible, but very difficult. You should really get it checked if you're having hallucinations the way Roseanne and what's his name are having Alex Jones are having their hallucinations. Hearing your name in a crowd, that's one thing, but having full-blown delusions where you're experiencing entire things like whole cloth out of nothing, that could very easily be schizophrenia.
I grew up in an apartment house. My grandparents in Salt Lake City, they owned an apartment house, and they sponsored people to come over from Auschwitz. And the apartment house was filled with survivors. And
well, that's super honorable if true. I don't know if this is even true, though. I don't trust a word out of her mouth.
That's how I started comedy, too, because my grandma had a windowsill, and I used to like to go in there and sing and dance for the people every Shabbat. We had Shabbat dinner on Friday night, and
that means Sabbath, I believe.
I would do my Shirley Temple act, and those people lied to me, too. They told me I was better than Shirley Temple, and they told me I was cuter than Shirley Temple, and I believed them.
Maybe they weren't lying.
No, they were lying.
That's kind of funny, actually. I like that. That's good. Depends on the situation. I have them on occasion. Okay. Well, maybe you have mild delusional... I'm sorry, not delusion. They're hallucinations, not delusions. Maybe you have mild hallucination experiences, and it's not really a problem. But, yeah. Number of possibilities for that. If it doesn't bother you, then I'm just not even worried about it.
I realized later, but anyway, they would all...
She is schizophrenic, and she has said she has 7 different personalities. You know what? You're right. I totally forgot she mentioned the multiple personality disorder at the beginning of this. She said she has multiple personalities. For what it's worth, that's not schizophrenia. They're different. For like the listening audience, if you guys, this is oftentimes mixed up with schizophrenia. Multiple personality disorder, I don't know what the consensus is right now, but when I was in school, we weren't really sure if multiple personality disorder was even real. Okay, back in the 80s, there was this book written called Michelle Remembers, and it was written by a psychiatrist, quote unquote, that ended up marrying his patient and extracting all these false memories from her, supposed, repressed memories that weren't repressed after all. They were just fake, about her being like mistreated by Satanists and being subjected to like satanic rituals. It was all fake, all of it, right? And he wrote a book called Michelle Remembers about satanic ritual abuse, which again is fake. It was all made up, all of it, right? Well, here's the interesting thing. This is not the first time a psychiatrist has written a fake book about fake things like this, and it took hold. The idea of alpha males was created by somebody who was observing wolves. He saw an alpha wolf taking care of a pack, and it turned out, he found out later, the guy that wrote about this, he wasn't observing an alpha wolf. He was watching a parent wolf take care of its child. There was no alpha of the pack. And he tried to get the book pulled off shelves afterward, but it was too late. It didn't matter. The idea had already taken root, and people already believed that alphas exist. The alpha male does not exist the way that people believe that it does. That's another example of a fake book from the psychology community that was mistaken. And here's another. Multiple personality disorder. It was fabricated by somebody, by a psychologist. It was fabricated by a patient who claimed to have it and later admitted that they made the entire thing up. But after the book came out, a bunch of other people came out of the woodwork and said, oh, I have the same symptoms. Yeah, I'm experiencing the same thing as this fake thing that this person made up. So is it real? Multiple personality disorder? Maybe. I don't know what the literature says on it now, but when I was in school, my teachers were all very skeptical of its existence. So, like I said, separate from that, though, it's not the same as schizophrenia at all. I don't even know how they got conflated with each other, but they're not the same condition in any way. Anyways, yeah, let's keep listening here.
They would all retell stories. I was only 3, and they were watching the Eichmann trial, too, on TV. And I came in, they were watching TV, and I saw on TV pictures of the Holocaust, and they would tell stories. And I remember they'd point to me, and they'd say, little girls like her, they hung them on a meat hook. That's the one I remember.
I should probably cut some of this out because it's a little bit too graphic, but that's true. That's true, yeah. That's really disturbing stuff. Nazis were absolutely horrifically terrible people. Really bad.
And I was so scared, and I thought...
Maybe not something you should say in front of 3-year-olds, right?
We lived there. I went in my grandma's bathroom, and I was barely tall enough to lock the door. I was locking them out. And I was...
It sounds like she's dealing with a traumatic event being told about this. They really shouldn't have told her about this. That's a spicy hot take about Nazis, Owen. Right.
Sitting there, and I was so afraid. I thought that was going to happen to us. And I saw something in the air right in front of me. It was a man on a horse, and he pointed to me.
Oh, that's interesting. So it sounds like she's experiencing hallucinations as a direct result of childhood trauma. That happens. That's actually not that uncommon, what she's describing here.
And he told me that I was going to live and that I was going to be okay. Okay. And he told me that he was always going to be with me, and that someday I was going to have an answer for every question that was in my mind at that time.
Wow, that's really sad. That's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that. For what it's worth, there's something called the ghost of the mountain. For people who are like climbing Mount Everest, for example, when they're very near death, when they're not doing well, when they're low on oxygen or they're tired or whatever, lots and lots and lots of people have reported seeing an entity appear in front of them and give them directions or comfort or whatever. Help them out. Help them find their way, the rest of the way. And as it turns out, this Ghost of the Mountain thing isn't just for mountain climbing. It's not just for Mount Everest. This happens when people get in car accidents or when they're near death or whatever. A being or an entity appears in front of them and comforts them. You know, they get in a car accident, entity appears in the backseat of their car and puts their hand on their shoulder and says, it's going to be okay, help is on the way, you know, stuff like that. That's your brain producing, you know, something that you need. It's producing the comfort that you need in that moment. This is like where the idea of guardian angels come from. It's a well-known, tested to oblivion experience. I don't know if you've ever heard of the God helmet, but the God helmet put this to the test too. It's where they put electrical diodes on a helmet. They put the helmet on somebody's head, and they put them in a dark room, pitch black, and close the door, and they stimulate these diodes. You know, they electrify them. And as they electrify this helmet, the person describes seeing, or not even seeing, but feeling entities, like 7 of them, you know, one there. This is just something that our brains do. This is a well understood effect that happens. It's kind of the same reason why, like, your brain produces DMT, a hallucinogenic agent, when you're near death. You know, this is just how humans work. This is how brains work. So it sounds like she was having a traumatic experience and came face to face with, you know, that entity that appears when you are in a near-death situation. There's nothing supernatural about it. It's been tested upside down, backward, and forward. And we understand that this just happens when people are dealing with near-death experiences and don't know how to process it, basically. You know, and having an experience like this, I can totally see how this would convince somebody for the rest of their lives that God is real, that their specific God that they already believe in is real and is out there trying to help them, even though everybody from every background, from every religious group or religious belief or whatever, all have these experiences. Even people with no religious belief at all have these experiences. This is just how the brain works.
And that I would always find my answers in books, and that I would find my answers in books. And I never forgot. Or
do you notice that, like, not for nothing, I mean, it wouldn't invalidate this if there were, like, religious undertones here, but it doesn't sound like there was a religious undertone. Like, the entity that appeared to her didn't say, Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and you blah, blah, blah. You know, you'll find your truth in the Bible and all that. No. They were giving her, the entity was giving her, like, advice that was unconnected to religion entirely. It was just, you will find joy in reading and stuff, right? Kind of interesting.
Left that, and I would be, like, in my life, you know, it's like they call it mental illness and stuff.
I wouldn't call that mental illness. That's the result of, like, a traumatic experience that she was having. That's not mental illness. That's just, they were talking about something they probably shouldn't have been talking about in front of a little kid. Some really horrific stuff from the Holocaust. And she just broke.
They call it that. But in my life, I would get these feelings and I would go to a bookstore, and I would have a question in my mind. I'd find a book, I'd open it, and there would be the answer every time. All over the world, I've done that. When I get this certain feeling, I'm guided to a book. I always find it, and that happened to me just yesterday. But
they want to cut us off from the divine. I'll tell you a story.
I was afraid to tell anybody that I had that feeling, because I knew always, don't tell nobody, because they'll try to take you away from God. They'll try to cut out parts of your brain and say you're schizophrenic and all this and that. But that is...
I don't believe that she's schizophrenic, just describing that. I have no reason to think that at all. for what it's worth. But if she thinks that she's schizophrenic, maybe she should be checked for that. I'm a little bit worried about her. I'm thinking maybe she is.
What they're trying to take from us. But I want to say when I got deplatformed and they took my life's work away from me and called me racist and all that stuff after.
Well, she is racist. She specifically said, she specifically called one of Obama's staff members an ape, a black staff member. She said she's an ape. Well, actually, what was it? She said something like, what was her name? Valerie Jarrett? I think Valerie Jarrett, when Planet of the Apes meets ISIS or something like that. It was even worse than just calling her an ape. It was bad.
Being a lifetime of a civil rights worker.
She's a lifetime of being a civil rights worker. Right. Okay.
I had to remember.
Look, I say one horrifically fucked up racist thing and everybody calls me a racist. But it's like somebody breaks into a bank and robs it and they're like, oh, you would talk about, they're in the courtroom. You would talk about the time I robbed the bank, but you never talk about the time I got my dad a birthday gift. That's correct, good sir. That's not what we're here to talk about. Really?
Back to that day so hard and go, are they going to take all my life I fought from them, taking me away from God? When they put me through all that therapy and I said,
this is really interesting. You know what? I'd be willing to bet that she does have schizophrenia and she knows that she has schizophrenia. This is exactly the type of thing I hear from my brother. My brother's schizophrenic, by the way. He refuses to take medicine. He won't do it because he believes that he's special and unique and has a unique connection to the divine, the supernatural, or whatever other thing. And if they medicate him, then he won't be him anymore. He won't have that supernatural special connection to the divine. It's nuts. And he needs help desperately. People have a really hard time functioning when they're dealing with schizophrenia like this. Roseanne doesn't seem to be doing too hot. If Roseanne took medicine, maybe she'd be normal. Maybe she would give up all of these delusions. But instead of taking medicine and being like a normal person, she's fallen into this rabbit hole and being enabled by these conspiracy theorists. Now her delusions, focus around all of these mass shared delusions.
To my therapists in the mental institutions I've been in, you're not going to take me away from God. You're not ever going to cut me away from thinking that I don't have connection to God because I know what psychiatry is about and this and that.
She sounds exactly like a schizophrenic. Word for word, I've heard this exact shit from schizophrenics, really. And I feel so bad for her. I wish she would just get the help that she needs.
I had like a big old nervous breakdown when that happened to me. And I asked why? Why have I been mischaracterized? Why did they not let me even explain myself?
Okay, you said to Valerie Jarrett when Planet of the Apes has a baby with ISIS or something like that. I don't need an explanation from you, Roseanne. That's fucking disgusting. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Simple as that.
And
they were scared of you.
And but the
I'm not scared of her. I just think that's fucking disgusting is all,
thing that's most remarkable to me, Alex, is I didn't lose my faith because I could have easily, the way they tortured me.
I understand.
I could have lost my faith, but I just am so happy that I didn't. They couldn't take it from me.
She needs medicine. She needs medicine badly.
Beautiful. Well, I'll share some things that are 100%. There's no doubt we're connected to the past, the present, and infinity through God. And I won't tell all the stories.
You know what? Let me write that timestamp down, 2:56. I'm so sorry for her. I wish that she would just get the help that she so desperately needs, obviously. If you can function with it, great. Fine. But schizophrenia is such a debilitating condition, and it's so difficult to live with. It's so difficult to function with schizophrenia. Almost nobody is capable of functioning with it, being high functioning. I mean, it's not impossible, but I'm sorry. Sorry for Roseanne here.
Won't tell all the stories, but I'll tell one, and it's on record. People ask how I went on air on July 25th, 2001, and said they're going to blow up the World Trade Center and blame it on bin Laden. At the time, I said, I've looked at the news. I can tell it. No, I had recurring dreams every night starting in May of 2021 of the planes crashing. I told my ex-wife it. She knows that. And I went on air that morning and said there's bombs in the building. They've blown it up because I was given that dream almost every night for 3 months before.
Wow. Okay, so he's saying, holy shit, dude, this is interesting. Hold on, 256:32. Let me write this one down, too. Alex Jones prophesied 9/11. God gave him these dreams. And why did God give him these dreams? What purpose did it serve? None, of course. Didn't do shit for anybody. The plane still rammed into these buildings. You know, you'd think if God gave anybody prophecy, it would be so that they could fix the situation or help, or at least even prove that they talked to God, right? But conveniently, this doesn't even prove it, because who did he tell? His wife? Yeah, she's a trustworthy source. He didn't write it down beforehand and mail it to himself so that there was a timestamp on it, and it was unequivocally proven that he said it beforehand. Didn't do any of that shit. He just came out after the fact and said, oh yeah, I had a dream about this.
And I went on air and I said, they're going to blow up the World Trade Center. I see them collapsing and they're going to launch all this war. They're going to take our rights away, which is in the future. And that was real. And it's that connection to the divine that we are able to jack into, not just 5G and all this fake stuff, the Tinker toys they've created. The whole universe is that. NASA put out last week a video admitting the sun has the exact heartbeat like a 45-year-old resting person. Boom, 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 boom. It's all as above, so
What? He's saying the sun has a heartbeat? What is he talking about?
below. And so anybody trying to deny that's going on is a liar. The CIA, the KGB, all of them have been obsessed on mind war for 60, 70, 80 years. They know it's the answer.
They know.
They know. And they don't.
Who is they? Who is he talking about? They. Some ambiguous puppet masters that pull strings and control the world? Like, what? What is he talking about?
Don't want us to reach out to that infinite and realize it's there, because then you don't care about movies. You don't care about people criticize. You care about the infinite and the divine. And that's what you're connected to.
They also don't want us to know. This is something I'll share. I just got it while you was talking.
Oh, she got a special prophecy while he was talking. Okay. Sniff.
They don't want us to know how things work as above, so below. Here's how things work in meditation, in Jewish meditation, Sephardic meditation. That how we and the Book of Esther too, which is coming up. That's it, because the
No, it's interesting they're mentioning the Book of Esther. I just covered a Leo and Layla video, which is PragerU Kids propaganda, a video about that. The Book of Esther is largely considered to be fake. It was not a real Bible book. It doesn't even belong in the Bible. It was a Jewish folklore story that did not actually happen. It was like an inspirational story that they told. Not real. So, okay, what about the Book of Esther?
how we and the Book of Esther too, which is coming up. That's it, because the prayer of Esther, she prayed to God to give me the words, and the same words that she prayed to God are the same words she used on the king to get him to nullify the decree. He didn't nullify it; he just amended it. But anyway, what people don't know, what's been kept from them, is that it is the below that stimulates the above. That's what people don't know. They don't know that when they tell us that the cries of the people were heard by the above, and so God moved. What happens is that the will of the people united stimulates the upper world to come down here and act on our...
Dude, I just can't catch a fucking break. I'm just trying to climb this fucking waterfall. Just let me up the waterfall, goddammit. Please. I just want to go up the waterfall. And this damn dragon keeps shocking the shit out of me.
we have.
It's an electrochemical connection.
It is. When we want.
Lightning doesn't, everybody thinks lightning goes down. No, it starts at the bottom.
That's right.
That's kind of correct. There's an ion funnel that forms from the earth to the clouds, and then the lightning strikes through that ion funnel. So the lightning goes from top to bottom, but the ion funnel goes from bottom to top. So it's kind of correct, I guess.
Exactly. And so that's why prayer works. That's why
Okay. How do we get from ion funnel to prayer?
it works. Because we stimulate the upper world, which, God is.
We're calling in the coordinates.
Yeah. We're asking, we're praying. Yeah, we're calling in the coordinates, the good way of putting it. But to think that
Dude, I just realized I wanted to go farm dragon scales, but I forgot a fucking torch. So I have to go all the way back to get a torch and come back anyways. Climbing that waterfall was completely pointless after all. Damn it.
have that power, and all we have to do is just the power of words. And my boyfriend Johnny always says, everything is strung together with
boyfriend? She has a boyfriend? I thought she was married to John Goodman. No, I'm just kidding. That's her TV show. I didn't know she had a boyfriend.
words, therefore everything can be undone with words. And when you think of the power of the people.
And that's why they're attacking language, because they know through the word.
Yeah, well, the word.
Who is they again? And what do you mean they're attacking language? What?
They all say in religion, in the beginning was the word, but the truth is in the beginning was the hearing, because if you couldn't hear the word, what would it matter?
What the hell are they talking about right now? I am so fucking lost.
The hearing, and the people can hear. That's part of the awakening. And when the people can hear and when the people can speak, they'll speak and move mountains, and the upper world will come in our defense.
I totally agree. So let me say this, and I don't say this to brag. I started the whole show with this. I went down to Mexico because I've been working, 20 hours a day, 15 hours a day forever. I promised to start taking off almost a week a month, because I have to with my family. My parents are getting old, kids are everything. And I used to get attacked some, not a lot, mainly love, but some attacks. I'm in international airports, Texas, Mexico, everywhere, nothing but love. And I'm in a restaurant, everyone comes over like a movie. We didn't have a camera. The camera guy, I took the camera guy with me, he was back at the gate. Literally, almost everyone in the restaurant, the servers, people from England, people from Russia, people from South Korea, people from Austin, people from Mexico, all came up. And it was just like, wait, my wife goes, this is the whole restaurant.
Well, most people would be interested that they're in the presence of a celebrity anyways, and that whether they like them or not. I don't think that there's really a whole lot of hate out there like that. Like, it seems to me that most people don't really hate many people that way, but okay.
Everyone just came over. They all knew about it wasn't about me. It was that they knew they were awake. They said, we know you're under attack. We love you. Just keep fighting.
We know you're under attack. I bet. And then everybody clapped, right?
And it was so magic. The average person isn't a public figure, which is a great thing. You're not public, you get left alone. But we're public figures. I don't know what you're seeing. I haven't asked you yet, but all I'm getting is love now. Like, knock on wood, because I don't like being attacked. It's happened a lot. It's not happening any now. That looks to me like the enemy's in a lot of trouble.
It's magnetism, isn't it?
Okay. I'm listening. Go on.
It is.
It's our fellows and our sisters are attracted to our words. That's what it is, because they think them too. It's like whatever it is.
Yeah, we or them. It is.
We're all thinking the same way. We're magnetizing.
So what is the enemy going to do? Because there's a real poll is Alex Jones goes to airports. Alex Jones goes to Mexico. And literally the waiters would have to give us the food free all the time. I couldn't even speak Spanish, but they were like, we love you. We love you.
I had a dilemma the other night. They was offering free non-kosher food.
Absolutely. I bring that up as a paradox. They have really screwed up. They thought they would demonize me. I'm not even perfect. I'm far from perfect.
But that's what they do, because that's what evil does. Evil just eats everything around it, and when it's already killed everything good, there's nothing left to eat but itself. And so it does.
Where was she that they offered free non-kosher food? Why would somebody offer free non-kosher food? What a shithead thing to do, right? It seems to me that that's a very obvious... it seems to me that that's very obviously, like, trying to take a shot at the Jewish community, isn't it?
And that's what they did. They got to keep eating, and they got to keep destroying.
No, I agree. So what do you quantify that as? That I'm now getting nothing but love? Like, I'm just a gauge. I'm nobody. But now that I'm getting nothing but love, what does that say about the system?
It says that the system and evil is dead. They're out of our way. And that's what I came here today to say. God won.
That's what I wanted to say. Exactly. I'm like, we're winning. All I'm getting is love.
We already...
Okay, that's weird because they were talking about how they're trying to... How they are trying to, like, take control of everything. They're puppet masters, and George Soros controls the blah, 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 blah. That's, like, all they talked about this entire time. So are they winning or not? I don't understand.
From the Mexican border police, from the Homeland Security when I got here. Hey, we love you, Alex. My passport was nothing but love. I mean, like, it's like, but we think we're losing. They're starting World War III, and then all I'm getting is love.
Because you're speaking the truth, and it's the truth is the greatest. Truth is God. That's what God is truth. And so it's magnetizing, and people hear it, and they're like, what? Because they never hear it. You're speaking it, and it's a magnet. It's the most powerful magnet.
Exactly. So it shows the awakenings here.
Everybody's awake. I mean, the people that aren't awake, it's because they're not meant to be awake. So just leave them.
Would you say woke? They're all woke?
You got to just leave them at a certain point because that's how God wants it.
Yeah, somebody says, Meoxer says, sure, Alex, winning while you shell out every dollar you have to the victims of Sandy Hook. Oh, absolutely. Alex Jones is not winning by any stretch of the imagination. Dude was sentenced to, I think, $1 billion. $1 billion to the victims of Sandy Hook because he lied about them while knowing that he was lying. Defamed them knowingly. Just crazy, dude. Yeah, is that what winning looks like? I'll pass. I'll stay in the losing category, thanks.
If they're not awake yet, and after today, I hope a whole lot more of them awaken. But if they don't, then just leave them. Not everybody can go, Alex.
I totally agree. Let me ask you this question then. What happens? I'm worried about once this chain reaction goes complete, which is about halfway through right now, in my view. What do people, we don't want any violence. What happens when, which is happening in the next few months, when it...
Dude, is he giving us like an end times prophecy right now happening in the next few months? What is happening in the next few months?
Tips totally towards us. What's the system going to do? What do we do once we know they killed us? They gave us poison shots. They attacked our children. They're child molesters. I mean...
This is all made up, and the dude is now crying. This is insane. Seriously. I gotta write this down. 30413. This is crazy. Alex Jones starts crying over poison shots. Oh my God, dude. This is nuts.
What do we do now?
This is so fake, right? He's a bad actor. This looks completely fake.
A lot of people are talking about retribution, but I'd say we ain't got no time for that. What we have to do is rebuild immediately. And so I put a lot of thought into how we would rebuild so that we can save a lot of time because we don't want a lot of our kids dying. And so I sort of did the work in 2012 of like reorganizing things around grandmas because I figured out every grandma's
around grandmas, you say, okay.
Pretty much responsible for about 100 people.
Every grandma is responsible for 100 people. Really?
And so, we will have to reorganize our communities around, every moral grandmother I'm talking about. Not some grandmas ain't good, but grandparent is what I'm talking about.
Okay, so if the grandma is immoral, then the grandpa is most definitely moral, right? So, oh my God, dude, this is insane. This is like a fucking fever dream that we're watching, right? This is nuts.
Elders. And we will have to organize our community first to take care of the children, make sure they're safe, that they're educated and fed. And that's like our priority, right, for this new world.
Because the enemy's plans to cut off the infrastructure. We got to get ready now.
Yeah, we have to have roads.
Convenient. He's not crying now. Weird, huh? He was just crying like literally 15 seconds ago. No more tears, I see.
We have to have muscle, and we have a lot of teenage kids, a lot of boys. We have to have them as our muscle, and they have to protect us. We have to reinvent.
So that's the attack on men.
Yeah, well, they call it toxic masculinity, but that's the only.
No, that she's using that wrong. She has no idea what toxic masculinity is, apparently. Toxic masculinity are things that men do that are destructive to men. You would think that, like, men's rights activists, quote unquote, like Andrew Tate, you'd think that they would care about toxic masculinity and correcting it, fixing it, making it better, because it's bad for men. Like the fact that men don't feel comfortable crying. They don't feel comfortable expressing their emotions to other people around them. That's not healthy. You should be able to express your emotions to the people around you. That's a toxic trait that is reinforced by women a lot of the time. It's reinforced by everybody, by society, not just men, not just women. And it's something that should honestly be corrected. You know, we should stop doing that shit. That's what toxic masculinity is. It's not a man being toxic. Like, they're using these words, they don't even know what they fucking mean. It's just embarrassing.
Thing that's ever saved us is masculinity. Are they kidding me? It really pisses me off that they're doing this to our boys. I have 2 sons, and it was hard to raise sons because to see these women that they got a choice of is pretty bad. My one son that's here with me, he had some trouble with the women, because we got to raise women have to raise boys different. So I took my son over.
Why do you have to raise boys different? Must be missing something here.
Over there to Jerusalem by the scruff of his effing neck, and I said, I want you get over there for the wall there. I mean, I'm Jewish, so I'm just saying as a Jew, So I says, you get over there to the wall.
Well, she really wants you to know that she's Jewish.
And pray for a good Jewish wife to kick your ass into shape. That gets along with me, first of all.
She's gorgeous. The great-grandchild there.
Okay, so that's...
My dad won't even give me a hug in public, right? Well, my dad wouldn't even give me a hug, so... No, that's not true. My dad did hug me when I was little, but I don't know. There were a lot of other problems with my dad other than the hugging stuff, so that's unrelated. Yeah, that's a good example of toxic masculinity right there, Don't give anybody a hug because that's gay, Don't keep a diary because that's gay. Don't keep a journal. Don't whatever. Men have limited themselves so much in the things that they can do, the things that they do to enjoy life, because it's viewed as it's too feminine. It's not like manly to do this. That is so toxic to men, It's sad. It's really sad.
What he got, because I made him go over there and pray and get right with God and pray and ask for, what he needed. Well, we come back, I says, what'd you pray for? He goes, I pray for the Broncos to win. I said, it don't work like that. But anyway, we came back. Broncos lost. But we came back and look.
The Broncos lost.
What happened? I mean, we have to raise our sons to get the right woman. And what they're doing to our boys is one thing, but what they're doing to our women, God Almighty, Alex, I'm so...
What? Okay, who is they? Again, I've been asking this through this entire thing. Who is they? And what does she mean? What they're doing to our men and our women? What?
Afraid for the women, because look what they're out there.
The women are
doing.
the real power.
The women, they got them so fucked up, Alex, they don't know what's coming or going. They're nothing but whores. They run
I'm about
out
to say,
there.
they take the system as their husband.
Well, they're out there defending to destroy the rights of women to bodily autonomy.
Oh, suddenly she cares about bodily autonomy, huh? I'd be willing to bet she's anti-abortion.
That's what these young girls are out there going, no. We like men to come in our bathroom. I mean, that's what they got them brainwashed to that degree.
Dude, okay, I don't know what she's talking about right now. I am lost, confused, and disturbed at the same time. I hope it doesn't. All right, let's just keep going.
Exactly. Their husband, I see Gillette ads where, pull up the Gillette ad against Tucker.
Oh my God, the Gillette ad. Okay, he's going to play it. You'll see what this is. This is a huge culture war issue a little while back. It was showing that men are too feminine for, like, modern men are too feminine or whatever. Just listen to this.
Masculinity 3 years ago. Gillette has ads where a guy asking a girl out of the movie theater is rape. But if a...
Really? It's rape if a guy asks a girl on a date. Does this sound logical? Does this sound like something that anybody would seriously believe? Like, how is it that the right believes this stuff? How is it that they actually buy into this ridiculous fantasy that this is like what the left is doing or whatever? It's nonsense.
pedophile wants to come talk to your kids at school, that's good.
I know, it's pedo law. That's what I defined it as a long time ago. When everything's run by pedophiles and they make the law, check it out. In the courts of this country, if a woman accused her husband of being a pedophile, which a lot of them did for no reason and put a lot of good men in jail, we all know that because it's all effed. It's all...
Okay, no, you don't get put in jail unless there's some kind of evidence against you, first of all. You can't just claim somebody did something and have absolutely no evidence to back it up, none, and then have them put in jail. Almost never. That almost never happens. Although, for what it's worth, that did happen to women a lot back in the day. You know, there was something called hysteria. The root word of that means uterus, basically. Like hysterectomy is removing the uterus. Hysteria is is a woman being crazy, basically, is what that means. You know, they would lock women up all the time for just being upset over something. You know, back in the 50s, there was a UFO cult called the Seekers, and a woman ran it, and she's talking to people around her about it. You know, she's like I think a professor at a university, or she knew a professor at a university. I don't remember. Anyways, the police were informed that she was like part of this UFO cult, and they came to her and said, if you don't stop talking about this, we're going to put you in jail for being crazy. We're going to institutionalize you, basically. This is super common back then. Now, what is Roseanne talking about? Pedo law? Lock people up for whatever? What? I've never heard about any of this. Like, this is complete nonsense, all of it.
Screwed, and they don't have the right data. They're not even going by data. They're going...
Okay, let me just step back a few seconds so we have the context here.
In the courts of this country, if a woman accused her husband of being a pedophile, which a lot of them did for no reason and put a lot of good men in jail,
I don't know what she's talking about. If this happened, then I denounce it. I've never heard this before in my entire life.
Know that because it's all effed. It's all screwed, and they don't have the right data. They're not even going by data. They're going by emotion. But a lot of judges, if it was true, and they saw that it was true, and they saw the data on the kid being abused, they called the woman crazy and gave custody to the abusive father. There's a lot of those stories.
Okay, I've never heard of that before. I know that they would call the woman crazy and lock her up in many cases. But I don't know about that very specific scenario where they unequivocally prove that a kid is being taken advantage of by the father, and so the judge intentionally locks the mother up to cover up this crime for the father. I've never heard of that before. What she's basically saying is the court system is run by people who take advantage of kids intentionally, and they're like covering up for each other's crimes. Like, that's completely made up.
On both sides. So that proves to me that it's people who don't care, and whatever money grease, the pedos have a lot of money.
Says who? Like, what is she even talking about right now? What a confusing rant.
You know that stuff about Boys Town.
Oh, yeah.
That they say that Boys Town and everything that happened there is the archetype for this whole government now.
Well, that's right. You're talking about Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then you've got Penn State.
Look at Penn State. That's where they brought the Nazis of Operation Paperclip.
Okay, if you don't know of Operation Paperclip, during World War II and even leading up to World War II, the United States was heavy adversaries with the Soviet Union, with Russia, right? And a bunch of states around Russia, Georgia and a bunch of others. Anyway, we were adversaries with them. There was this huge battle between capitalism and communism, God and atheism. You know, we didn't like each other at all. Well, Hitler comes along and he announces that he wants to, and he says he plans to invade the Soviet Union. And there's actually a picture of Joseph Stalin, who was in charge of the Soviet Union at the time. There's a picture of him the moment he found out that Hitler intended to invade. So we temporarily allied ourselves, the U.S. did, with Joseph Stalin so that we could take out Hitler in World War II, right? And Russia came in from the west. Russia came in from the east. The U.S. came in from the west, and we kind of did a pincer attack and took Germany. And then we built a wall right down the middle. We had Eastern Germany and Western Germany, and they were controlled by their respective governments. Well, after all of that happened, it went right back to like an adversarial type of situation where we hated each other, the Soviet Union and the U.S., right? So after World War II ended, the U.S. knew that all of these Nazi scientists who were developing the atom bomb, they were attempting to develop an atomic weapon. They were developing new drugs and medicines and all kinds of other stuff. The U.S. knew if we didn't grant them citizenship and bring them to the U.S., the Soviet Union would. So they granted these Nazi doctors citizenship and employed them in the U.S. government to study things and help us come up with new ideas and stuff like that. Was that right? Probably not. I would have granted them citizenship and told them that they were totally pardoned of all wrongdoing, and once they got over here, try them for war crimes. That's probably what I would have done. Give it a year. I would try them after a year. I don't want anyone, any other stragglers. I want the stragglers to think that this is a really good place to live. And then after they were all over here, then I would try them for war crimes probably. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was Operation Paperclip. Capture the Nazi scientists so that the Soviet Union can't have them. And they're acting like this is some big conspiracy, like, the U.S. is really made up of Nazis. It's just complete nonsense. I mean, the U.S. has made a lot of bad decisions in the past. That may have been one of them. But what's the conspiracy here? I don't understand. Is it that, like, the left is made up of Nazis? I don't know. It's just confusing nonsense, all of it.
It's all like the same money, the same people.
Well, that's
Few
the thing.
hands,
This spider spins the same web, though. That's why we can beat it.
The fuck does that mean? The spider spins the same web. What?
That is right, because basically I figured out it's 2,500 people against, what, 1 billion, 7
No, I agree with you.
billion?
There's a couple hundred globalists and their minions, a couple thousand. Well, I had Henry Kissinger try to hire me. He tried to get me. It's the only time I told a story because he did it in front of my producer, John.
Okay, Henry Kissinger, I think was the Secretary of Defense or the National something. Hang on. Alexa, stop. That was weird. Okay, well, wow. Okay, so yesterday, wow, dude, holy shit. Okay, yesterday I set a reminder to insert mid-roll ads into my videos, right? With my Alexa, I told it to remind me to set mid-roll ads. Well, it just reminded me, and it said insert boop ads, and I was like, what the fuck? So I look at my watch to see what it said because it writes it down for you, and it misheard me. When I said mid-roll ads, it inserted the N-word. Wow, dude. What the fuck? Let me tell you this. At no point should Alexa ever have the N-word in there, ever. It should, if it thinks it hears the N-word, it should replace it with ninja. Why would it insert? What the fucking shit is happening right now? God damn, dude, that's crazy. That was weird as fucking shit. Did you guys hear it in the background? It went boop. Apparently they didn't block the word. They just give it a beep and they put stars and asterisks in its place. Wow, dude. What the fuck, man? You heard the beep. Okay. What the fuck? That was fucking weird. Okay, let's keep listening to Roseanne. Oh my God, Amazon, you got to get your shit together. Fucking seriously.
He tried to hire me. He tried to get me. It's the only time I told a story because he did it in front of my producer, John Harmon. Because I'll have meetings with these guys, then they're off record. As a journalist, I got to wear that hat. Unless it's criminal what they're saying, it's off record. So I had meetings with.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about Henry Kissinger. So Henry Kissinger was Nixon's, what do you call it, like Secretary of Defense or some high up guy that was like involved in war to some degree. And he's Jewish. So naturally, Alex Jones has to demonize him. I don't think Alex Jones is intentionally, knowingly anti-Semitic necessarily. I don't know. Maybe he is. But it's awfully coincidental that every person that he criticizes, every person that he accuses of being an elite, the puppet master that pulls strings from afar, always just so happens to be Jewish. Is that weird to anybody else? Again, I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if he's anti-Semitic, but that is just a little too on the nose for me. That's weird, right? So anyway, Henry Kissinger, famous Jewish person, apparently tried to hire Alex Jones. Yeah, right.
Fox News people and, all the rest of them. But with Kissinger, he said the head of the Kissinger group to talk to me. And they said, listen, you need to come join us. You get how it works. You'll have a seat at the table. You won't get all the power, but you'll at least have your voice being heard. And that's basically what they told me. So that's why it's so frustrating for the general audience to understand. It's not like some big bonus point I make this, but I mean, I could have worked for them. And most people do that. But who would want to work for something like you said it earlier? How does a billionaire spend their money when the civilization's collapsing?
Dude, I am still stuck on the insert N-word ads. What the fuck, man? What happened? Why would it ever assume that N-word is the word that I meant? Why would it ever make that assumption? It shouldn't beep it. It should never, ever say it. It should never assume that that's what anyone ever intended. This is just too much, dude. All right, I'm sorry. Let me just step back. Listen again.
Do that. But who would want to work for something like you said it earlier? How does a billionaire spend their money when the civilization's collapsing? Why would you?
Well, they spend it on like Democratic candidates and stuff. Or in the Koch brothers case, they spend it on trying to improve their portfolio and make more money. The Koch brothers are like heavily involved in the oil industry and stuff, aren't they? They attempt to build up the oil and energy industries. I think the Koch brothers are starting to realize that the future of energy is green, though, and there's just nothing that's going to stop that. So a lot of oil companies and Koch brothers have invested in green energy because oil is just a bad investment, and they've got to know that by now, right?
Like Henry Ford was a weirdo and supported the.
Well, Henry Ford, I don't know if you guys knew this. He was a full-blown Nazi. In fact, Hitler incorporated some of his ideas into his practices, ideologies, and stuff like that. It was crazy. Henry Ford's fucking terrible in every way.
Nazis and was crazy. But he also was smart in ways. They said, Henry Ford, why do you pay your factory workers in Detroit, Michigan 3 times what anybody else does? He goes, there's not a market for my cars.
Right, exactly. That's real capitalism, though. That's not crony capitalism.
That's not intelligent. That's just realizing that no one can afford what you're producing.
Exactly.
What we got, right? We don't have real capitalism where there's like, what do they call it? Supply and demand. There's none of that shit. That's why they'll make 8 million little peanuts with a wind-up thing in it. It isn't supply and demand. It's crony capitalism. And that's what then we could go talk about Marx and all that stuff. But anyway, we'll spin out of control. But
no, do 10 minutes more. I'm going to shut up because this is a historic interview. You made amazing points. I hope it's the first of many interviews. Yeah.
Well, I love you. I'd love to come
We
back.
were talking like 3-4 years ago, and it was,
I know.
you're going to come on, we're going to come on. I'm glad it happened. Why now? Is the planets aligned?
Yeah, it was a great alignment last Wednesday where Jupiter, which I spelled Jewpiter.
Why would you spell? God, these people are weird.
As a joke, but Jupiter aligned with Venus and just before Purim. So to me, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of female divine energy. And I think that's what we're
Female divine energy. Okay, go on.
entering into, a time where mothers are going to matter more than they ever have before, because they're going to realize that, you know, we have a lot to say. We have a lot to change. We have to raise our children better, and we have to be in a world where we're more protected instead of prey. Mothers
By the way,
are prey.
let's talk paradox. The left claims they're empowering women because the women have the power. They want to control women. I agree, women are the answer, but not the way the system says. But
No, the way they're
I don't have any idea what he means. The left wants to empower women, raise them up out of poverty and subservience, and give them equality. And honestly, that is the best way to build an economy, to empower women. In all seriousness, this isn't just this is the right thing to do. It's not about being the right thing to do necessarily. I mean, it is for me, but it doesn't have to be for everybody. This is a logical decision that people can make that will improve an economy. You're doubling the workforce and making it better for everybody involved. It just empowering women, giving them the same rights as men, absolutely makes the economy better without a shadow of a doubt every single time.
using women is against women. It's like women are the ultimate power against women in the wrong hands. When women aren't working for women and children, then that's a bad world. When women are working for women and children.
exactly. So
that's a
I'm not
good
an
world.
astronomer.
I have no idea what she's going on about right now. This sounds like nonsense to me.
I'm not an astronomer, but
Well, in Judaism, we look at the entire cosmos as God's creation to us, that we are to honor. We don't look at it as like devil stuff.
no, it's a clock.
Okay. I think that I think she confused astronomer with astrologer. Astrology is looked at as devil stuff a lot. That's like reading the stars to find out if, you know, your horoscope is whatever. But he said astronomer. I don't know what this has to do with anything.
It's a clock.
So let me
Have
tell you
you
the story.
been to Prague and seen that clock in Prague that show the Jewish clock?
I have.
That's it, exactly.
So here's
That's
what happened.
Sephardic Judaism.
I go to Cancun for a week to spend time with my parents who are getting old and family because I haven't done it. I'm trying to like compress things that I haven't done. I'm guilty. I've been absent in many ways from my family for 20-something years. So at least 4 or 5 days a month now I take off just to be with family. And so family goes to bed about 10 o'clock at night. I go on the balcony of this hotel and I look up and there's the moon. And I'm sitting there and I go, what's that? It's like a red light right next to it. There's another light, and my eyes can look at it because I do have.
Oh no. Alex Jones looks up at the stars because he's not in a city anymore and he can see the stars clearly. This is probably a bad idea. He shouldn't have done this. He's creating new conspiracies. There's an alien something or other out there, isn't it?
Telescope. I used to look at it. I go, wait a minute. So I look on my phone, and it was all conjunct. There was like 3 planets around the moon lined up, and I could see them, like what you just was saying. It was crazy.
So much of it is about the planets, like, you know, when they talk about the 3 wise men and that.
Yeah, they were following that light.
Right. It is about, so much of Revelations is about that too.
She shouldn't believe in Revelations because she's Jewish, right? Revelations doesn't even belong in the Bible, honestly. It's like the book of Esther. There are a number of books that I could see reasonably belong in the Bible. The book of Mark should be the only gospel. And the last chapter of it shouldn't even be in there. That was added later. A lot of stuff was added later to the Bible. The book of Revelation, the book of Esther, the last half of the last chapter of the book of Mark. The book of John doesn't belong in the Bible. There's a bunch of stuff that doesn't belong in there. Why is she even talking about this stuff? She's Jewish, right?
When they talk about the woman giving birth and the whole thing, that's the alignment we're in right now. So it is the end.
Well, roll with it. You got the floor. Tell us about it.
Well, it is.
Discord. You're a smart lady. Disgorge it all. I'm going to shut up.
Well, it is the end of times, and some people are saying, oh, that means the end of days, and that's what people are saying, oh, it's the end of the world. Well, it's not the end of the world. It's, to me, what it means is it's the end of the old, and the old has a lot of, stuff that doesn't serve us anymore. A lot of it is
exactly. So they're offering AI and all this BS because they're old. They're trying to act like they're the future. They're not.
Well, they want to keep that Babylonian child sacrifice going because that's how they keep their power.
Oh my God. This is an anti-Jewish conspiracy theory that she's espousing right now. This claim that, people are eating children or babies or whatever. This has been an accusation against the Jewish community for millennia, honestly. But it got really, really popular all the way back in the 1905 roughly is when this really started gaining traction. The claim that, Jews eat babies or eat people or whatever else. It was actually heavily accused back in the Middle Ages. They claimed that they were mixing blood into like their bread and stuff like that. It was all made up, obviously. But now here she is repeating it. So you know what? If she is Jewish, she is lying about the Jewish community and repeating anti-Jewish conspiracies. What do I even do with that?
Secrecy, when you said secrets, that's how they keep it, blackmail and secrets. That's how they keep their power.
But I said I'd shut up. I interrupted. Start over. So it's the old is ending, the new's coming in.
Yeah, the old, including all the evil of, the pyramid of child sacrifice and suffering of the people, the serfs. What they're trying to do is bring back feudalism. That's what the one world thing is, feudalism. With
Again, who is they?
the few at the top of the pyramid at the expense of the many. But see, the grand alignment is that's God talking to us about now you have the power because everything is on your side to not live in the pyramid at the bottom anymore. No, you don't need to do that because you have, all you need to do is just, as I say, nothing. All we need to do is nothing, and this time it's going to serve us. It never served us before.
I agree. We don't need military coups. We don't need violent action. The meek inherit the earth.
That's what he meant. And this is the time that he said, this is the thing that's going to happen, Alex. All the books.
Dude, I am so confused about what they're saying right now. It's like just nonsensical drivel all the way.
Bullshit is going to fade and burn away.
It is now.
Yeah, it is now. And we're watching.
It's just now catching fire.
Yes, it is. The sparks have caught fire and it's all burning away. The old is going to go and the new is just being born. And what's going to happen is that the writings of Jesus that people don't know about and they've tried to destroy for
Why is she talking about the writings of Jesus? See, this is what I'm talking about. Is she Jewish or not? She claimed that she was Jewish. Why is she endorsing the writings of Jesus? Why is she referring to them at all? These are lost and people don't know about them. I don't believe she's Jewish. Maybe ethnically Jewish. I think she's a Christian. I think she believes in Christianity, in my opinion. That's what it seems like to me. And she's just trying to latch on to Judaism because she wants to be special in some way or something. That's my guess.
2,000 years.
You know what? Let me write this one down too. This is 3:15:45. Honestly, she might be Jewish ethnically, but not religiously, in my opinion.
They tried to bury it. They tried to silence him. They tried to, everything they've done to him. But people know in their hearts that what he spoke was true. It's going to come now. It's going to bloom, and everybody's going to read it and see it for themselves. And, when I was 3, I was told that I would be one who would talk about it, and I've studied it for 70 years, and I'm ready to do so. And so are a lot of other people. And it's time that people really knew who he was and what he did, because they don't know.
She's talking about Jesus right now. Tell me again that she's Jewish. I don't believe it for a second.
They really don't know. What
do the globalists do as they know they're losing?
They step aside. make room for, a soul, a real soul to take their place. And the people own the means of production of everything, not the communist way.
Okay, that's not communism. Socialism is where every private company is run by the workers. Like the workers vote on who the leader is and stuff. Like the way a nonprofit organization operates right now with the board. That's what socialism is. Where the people that are employed there vote on who the president is, the CEO, the CFO, and they vote on their pay and stuff like that. That's socialism. Communism is where the state owns all this stuff.
That crap, because that's still oppressive. It's
Well, notice how we have
thing.
corporate using communism to seize control of production. It's a fraud.
Corporate.
Okay, there can't be corporate communism. Like, logically, that makes no sense whatsoever. Corporate communism is capitalism. Capitalism is where corporations are privately owned. Socialism is where workers have a stake in the organization that they work for, and they vote on everybody that's involved in it and what their role is. Communism is where the state controls the means of production and supply. The state owns, the companies, basically. That's what that is. You can't have corporate communism. That makes no sense at all.
And all that stuff is against tribal people's rights, and starting with the Jews in Jerusalem and Judea. They don't want nobody to live over their own sacred burial grounds and to be in touch with the past.
They don't want ancestors, that whole, because what about genetic memory? What about epigenetics exactly? It's not just instincts, we have the memories of our forebears because they live on through us.
Okay, that is nonsense. Genetic memories? Is he saying that people carry memories down through their genes? No, it's not how that works. Behavior can be carried through genes. Like a cuckoo bird. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but cuckoos don't build nests. Cuckoo birds, the moms will find a nest that already exists. They'll lay an egg in that nest that already has eggs in it. And when and cuckoo birds are genetically bred to hatch from their eggs early, extra early. And they mimic, and as soon as they hatch, they have this, God, what do you call it? They have this behavior that's passed down, genetically passed down behavior, where they kind of scoop up the other eggs with their backs that are in the nest, and they push the egg out of the nest so that there are fewer competitors for the food. That is a genetic behavior that passed down. But memories, really? You telling me you think that memories are genetic? Give me a break.
We have it in our blood and our DNA, and that's what all their cloning and shit like that, their DNA studies, is to alter. The Nazis.
That's why all the clones are retarded, because they don't have the spirit.
That's
What clones? What are these people talking about, dude? This is a fever dream.
right. They don't know nothing about the human soul or the human spirit, and they never will because they ain't got it. So that's our weapon, Alex. That and joy and the love for each other. And
you started the interview with that before we went live. Talk about joy.
Decent food to eat and share with our fellows.
Talk about what Satan hates, joy.
Dude, let me tell you something. I hope that clones never become commonplace or normal or regular in the United States or in the world. Because if they did, they would be like second-class citizens. I would bet anything that conservatives would view clones as a product of science and thus not humans. Not, they can be owned like property. It's legal for them to be owned. I bet anything that's how the right would view clones. A product of science and thus can be owned as slaves. I mean, just listen to how they're talking about clones now, and they're not even real.
Oh, yeah, that's the one thing he hates is, he hates us.
Who is he? Are they talking about Satan? Or who are they talking about right now?
Loving each other and loving God. He hates that. He hates when we are fearless. and he hates when we have joy. He recoils from joy. He recoils from love, joy, empathy, and faith in God. He can't exist nowhere where that does. He'll run like hell for the hills. And
Are they talking about Satan? I think so.
when he starved, we say he starved through good action towards our fellows and our sisters. He starved of his life force, which is fear, hatred, separatism, and division.
I don't know about her. Honestly, I don't even know about you guys, but personally, I think that my life force comes from your mom.
That's what feeds him and makes him strong, plus secrets and blackmail, of the shit they make people do
See, I don't need any of that. I'll just settle for your mom.
to get power. There's not a one of them sitting there. Well, I could think of 2 or 3 that I know. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I love her.
Oh my God, dude. She loves Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's fucking straight up psychotic, dude.
Great lady.
I believe that she's got a soul. Few of them do now. But anyway, it don't matter. Even if there was 100 good ones, the system is so rotten, it needs to be flushed out and returned to its source, which is the great Constitution written by
So
our
do you think
forefathers.
will there be nuclear war, or what happens in Russia?
Well, they want that, I think. I think they want
Who is they? Who are we talking about?
limited nuclear war, yeah, and they're all geared up for it, and that's why I'm praying that all that shit fails and that God will move his hand among
I thought you said they already won. I thought you said, like, God was in control and all that stuff already.
us, and that we, the people, will stimulate him.
A few political questions. Do you like Trump or DeSantis?
I don't like DeSantis at all. I think
Ooh, boy, that's interesting.
he's a Trojan horse for global,
Hold on. Let me just step back. Listen to this again.
and that God will move his hand among us, and that we, the people, will stimulate him.
That's what she said.
A few political
Okay.
questions.
So that was at 3/19/28. Let me write that one down.
Stimulate him.
A few political questions. Do you like Trump or DeSantis?
I don't like DeSantis at all. I think he's a Trojan horse for globalism. Soros loves him.
Okay, that's interesting she mentions that. George Soros does not love Ron DeSantis, but what George Soros said was, I think that Ron DeSantis winning the primary would probably work out better for Democrats than if Trump won the primary. Now, that is old now. That's a few months ago at this point, I think. So the situation may have changed. It may be better for the Democrats if Trump wins. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But either way, Soros did not say that he loves DeSantis. He said he thinks it'd be better if he won than if Trump won.
Well, no, it's true. And like they're trying to pass anti-free speech bills in
I love
In Florida, yeah, they're trying to pass anti-free speech bills in Florida. Absolutely.
what he did with Disney in Florida, though.
What? Silenced their free speech?
He does some right things. He took away their special status where they can take, they was taken, well, I shouldn't say. I don't
Oh, she shouldn't say. As if anything that she's said up to this point isn't going to get her in trouble. But this thing that she doesn't want to say could get her in trouble. Give me a fucking break.
their special status where they can take, they was taken, well, I shouldn't say. I don't want to get in trouble.
no, they got their own little country going. So, no, I mean,
No, they have special tax status where they don't pay taxes for this little area, this little section of land. And in exchange, they take care of the area. So when you pay property taxes for an area, it's expected that you're going to, it's expected that the government's going to come in and repair the power lines, and they're going to maintain the roads and things like that, right? Disney didn't want the government to maintain the power lines and repair the roads in their park. They wanted to do it. That's why Disney, when you go there to Disney World, it looks like a wonderland. Everything is perfect and pristine and clean, and it all looks beautiful, and all of the power lines are, buried underground, and everything's lined up perfectly. There isn't a piece of gum on a sidewalk. There isn't a pothole in any of the roads, because Disney is doing all that stuff themselves because they want to give an air of whimsy to their park. If the government maintained it, it would take time for the government to come in and fix potholes and maintain benches and stuff like that. That's why Disney had this special tax status, because they're maintaining the park, not the government. And if the government's not maintaining it, if they're doing it, I'm okay with them not paying taxes for that specific thing, right? That's not their own little country within Florida. It's just they maintain an area. And Ron DeSantis was pissed off at them for talking about him or for pulling funding. They didn't even talk about him. I think they pulled their political donations, and in retaliation against them for not donating to him, he pulled their special status as, a distinct area or whatever. So now they have to pay the taxes anyways. That's political retaliation. That's fascism and extremism. That's fucking nuts. Anyway, that's silencing free speech.
So, I agree. At least Trump's anti-World War III.
He's a peacemaker because he's intelligent, because anybody who's intelligent wants peace.
What? Trump is intelligent and a peacemaker? No to both of those things.
This time on this planet ain't a time for effing around with lethal weapons. Everybody can see that. I mean, they could do something about birth control rather than trying to depopulate.
What happens with Biden? Obviously, that guy's done. What do you think happens?
Do you think that's Biden?
No.
Oh, my God, dude. She's gone straight down the rabbit hole.
Oh, he looks...
What about them ears? It ain't even the same guy, I don't think. I don't know. That's what people say. But
that's what people say. Oh, my God, dude. Let me show you my introduction to Roseanne, actually. Years and years ago, I covered this video from her. She was on this guy's show named Larry Gators, okay? This is Larry Gators. This is from mid-May 2021. Listen to what old Larry had to say about Biden and just a bunch of people. Just listen to what he said here.
Tom Hanks is dead. Newsflash.
This routes back to Roseanne, by the way. Just bear with me.
Tom Hanks is dead.
That's right.
Okay? Joe Biden is dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on. He took the shot.
Clintons are dead. Okay.
Yes.
You got clones running this country.
Right.
See, I got the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said. Why? Because I'm a man of God.
Amen. You have to. Truth.
You got these punctified well, I don't want to lose my 501c3.
Oh,
Bishop,
come
so
on.
we have to use wisdom. Stop. Okay. You need to sit down and shut up.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
That's
Okay.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Trump is surrounded by the military
The Minitary.
at Mar-a-Lago.
Yes. That's
Trump
right.
has the nuclear codes.
That's right.
Trump has the military who
Well, we said it right that time.
turned their back on Joe Biden.
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
And Trump has Air Force One. Patriots,
Come on.
QAnons, President Trump is still the president.
Obviously, all of that was completely fucking fabricated. It's made up from beginning to end, every last bit of it. But that's Larry Gators. Now, let me tell you why we're talking about him in the first place in a Roseanne segment. Roseanne went on Larry Gators' show back in July 16th, 2021. That date probably isn't exact. That's when I found the clip originally, but it's pretty close. It's mid-July anyways. Listen to how that went.
You know what God told me? He said, I want Roseanne, calm down
Yes.
because I have a mission for you. I said, what is it, Lord? You know
Right.
I'll do it. If I have proved that to you by now,
That's
even
right.
if it gets me fired and in trouble, you know I'll do it if you put it rightly to me. You've seen that. So
Right.
he says, yes, Roseanne, I do. I have something I want you to do. I want you to tell people that I am mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Okay, that apparently is a quote from a movie in the 1970s called Network. I don't know why God is quoting 1970s movies, doing references like that, but okay.
He said,
That's
you
right.
tell them, Roseanne,
Angry.
that's what I have to say to them right now. And if they can't
That's
figure
right.
out why, at least tune in to what?
I'm sorry, I don't fully understand what she's even saying here.
See what is happening right in front of your eyes, and
That's
Roseanne
right.
will then explain it, as will Dr. Bishop Larry will explain
Yes, ma'am.
why. If
Yeah, this makes no sense at all.
you're any kind of conservative like me, they blacklist you.
Okay, that's not why she was blacklisted. She's blacklisted for calling Valerie Jarrett, one of Obama's staff members, an ape. A black staff member said Valerie Jarrett is what happens when you cross Planet of the Apes with ISIS or something like that. That is one of the most racist things that I've heard in my life, I think. Aside from a few minutes ago when I told my Alexa to remind me to insert mid-rolls, and it thought I said insert N-words. That's pretty racist of the Alexa, but anyway, let's keep listening.
Yes.
They have blacklisted me for years because I wanted to talk about, the things that ain't right.
She wants to talk about the fact that a black staff member of Obama's is like an ape, and that's why that was the right thing that she was doing. She's doing the right thing, trying to clear the air and make sure everybody is aware that she's like an ape. Really? Okay. Doesn't seem like the right thing to me, but all right.
Yes.
And they don't want to hear it. They're censors, just like all the rest of them. Fascist
And nothing
censors
has
on the
changed.
left and the right. Listen, anybody that is not going to let me speak,
That's right.
fuck them. Just fuck them.
You know what? She's perfectly free to speak. That's the thing. She is just as free to speak as I am, as anybody else is. They're just not giving her a platform of millions of people to broadcast her message to. That's the difference. She's back on the level with every other person because she, had her show canceled or whatever. That's the only difference. She's allowed to say whatever she wants on whatever platform. In fact, she has a YouTube channel about as big as mine now, I think. So she didn't get her voice canceled. She just got her show canceled because she's a racist scumbag. That's all. So anyway, that is her connection to QAnon. She's been repeating the same nonsense that she just said on Alex Jones a minute ago for like ever.
Do you think that's Biden?
No, it looks.
What about them ears?
So you remember Larry Gators in the first clip said Biden is dead? Well, Tom Hanks is dead, blah, blah, blah. They're all clones. We have clones running the country. This is a QAnon belief that, by the way, is inextricably linked with Christianity, which is another reason why I think that she's not really Jewish. She's Christian, just pretending to be Jewish. It's a belief that's inextricably linked with Christianity and is inherently extremist, and something that she's believed in for a long time.
It ain't even the same guy, I don't think. I don't know. That's what people say. But I think Biden, this is Obama's third term. Obama's just the window puppet. But, Biden's just the puppet of Obama. And as I say, Valerie Jarrett is Obama's brain. So this is her third term. And how you liking it, America?
Right. Valerie Jarrett's the one that she called an ape.
Wow. Well,
honestly, I'm liking Biden's term okay. It's not bad. I don't have to wake up in the morning and worry that Trump is going to start a war with Iran or something like that. So there's that.
Roseanne Barr, we've done a 2-hour interview. It's been amazing. I want you to look inside your amazing mind in the last 5 minutes and have the floor. Anything else you want to add to the viewers and listeners? I said, how do people find you? I don't know, whatever. Roseanne Barr, we're glad you're here. Anytime you want to come on here, we love you. Please come back.
I love you too, and I love all of you. And I guess I just want to say, don't give up now. We came this far. Don't give up. Get stronger. Nobody can stop you from getting better, from getting stronger in your body and your mind. No law, no government, nothing. That's what you need to do. And learn about growing your own food, your own vegetables. Do that as fast as possible.
Because she thinks there's going to be societal collapse. Okay.
You look great. You're doing good.
She does not look great.
I really am. I'm a very lucky woman, and I'm happy, and I feel like I could use what time I have left in service of my beliefs.
Hawaii's beautiful. I thought about trying to move there.
I love Texas. You know, I moved down.
No, I'm saying I love Hawaii. I don't have the money to move there. You moved outside Austin to Texas. When did you do that?
Yeah, I went to Hawaii when I was like 14 years old because my mom got free plane tickets to anywhere in the world. And so we flew to Hawaii. The whole trip was basically free because we ate salami that we bought from ABC stores, salami sandwiches. We bought bread and salami and cheese and ate those sandwiches the entire time we were there. And I think the trip probably cost us $500 total. And it would have normally cost like $10,000 to go. So it was a really good deal. But anyway, I went there when I was 14 and oh my God, dude, is it stunningly beautiful in Hawaii. Just a truly incredible place. Oh my God, dude. It's like the ocean is so crystal clear and blue and the rocks and oh my God, the place, dude. If you've never been to Hawaii, at some point in your life, you should try it. At some point. I say if you're ever going to take 2 trips at any point in your entire life, you should try out Hawaii, Waikiki Beach, and you should try out New York City. Truly incredible.
I did it about 6 months ago. By God, I just love it so much. I've never met nicer people in my life. Everywhere I go is nothing but love. And, I just love everybody back so much.
Well, I thought paradoxically, growing up in Texas, like everybody was like that, went to other parts of the country. There's great folks all over, but man, real Texans are really good people.
And they're strong, and they like liberty. And I'll end with this quote from a friend of mine, Mary Daly. She said, "There is no liberty without truth." I think I like to end on that all the time.
Okay, that's an interesting quote, and I think I can appreciate it, although for different reasons than Roseanne, I'd say.
Well, let me read an Alexander Solzhenitsyn quote I mentioned earlier. "And how we burned in the camps later, thinking what would things have been like if every security operative, when he went out at night to make an arrest, had been uncertain whether he would return alive and had to say goodbye to his family, or if, during periods of mass arrests, as for example in Leningrad, when they arrested a quarter of the entire city, people had not simply sat there in their lairs, appalling with terror to every bang on the downstairs door and every step on the staircase, but had understood that they had nothing left to lose, and had boldly set up with axes, hammers, pokers, and whatever else they had, the organs would have quickly have suffered a shortage of officers and transport, and notwithstanding all of Stalin's thirst, the cursed machine would have ground to a halt if we didn't love freedom enough, and even more, we had no awareness of the real situation. We purely and simply deserved everything that happened afterward."
Okay, I don't feel like I fully understand the quote. Maybe I did, I'd have to sit there and think about it a little bit more, but okay, interesting.
You have to make your choice. And I just pray for all the people who are going to make that choice and are going to be forced to make that choice, that you choose right and that you choose to be with the human beings.
And choose to be with the human beings, not with the clones and the demons and stuff. Seriously, these people live in another reality.
I would close with that. That's so paradoxical, Roseanne. You're totally right. Going along with the New World Order will destroy you, will enslave you, will hurt your family. But you've got to have the moral courage to say no to it now and realize that, and then we can stop this. We don't have to go down the same path.
There is no New World Order, okay?
Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with the same results but never stopping.
I don't know that Einstein said that. Is that actually from Einstein?
Paraphrase it. We've got to say no now. We've got to stop complying. You're not going to save the world by yourself. Neither is Roseanne. Neither am I. But together, we're going to be able to...
I like the thing when it occurred to me that all people have to do is nothing. That means when you've been agitated to take action, not just because they want to arrest you. It's because they are watching you and they are manipulating you and they
Dude, they live in a delusional fantasy land, a paranoid delusion. That's what she's describing right now, a paranoid delusion. It is so sad.
are moving you, everything they're doing. It's better just to take 10 deep breaths and do nothing. Don't be pushed. Just stay home and do nothing because it will fall faster.
You know, if they'd actually followed that advice during the pandemic, maybe we wouldn't have lost as many people as we lost. But they don't want to stay home and do nothing. They want to wreak havoc. They want to cause problems for everybody around them.
Powerful. Well, I'm going to end this interview, 2+ hour live, but anything else you want to add?
Just God bless America.
Wow. Well,
Oh my God, dude.
God bless Roseanne. We really appreciate you being here with us. And God bless everybody else that's been fighting tyranny.
God bless your mom.
Roseanne Barr, where should people go to find you? You got a website?
Well, I'm over there on YouTube someplace. I'm on Twitter on these fake accounts. One of them's called Rosie Posey.
All right. Because Elon hasn't reinstated you yet because you talked about George
Well, because
Soros.
my kids are the ones that took it away and they won't give me my password.
Really?
Yeah, 3 of my kids are real liberals and they won't give me my password.
Dude, I love it. I love it to death. I'm so glad they took her password away, but she created alts. They should have put a password on, not on her like Twitter account, but on her like computer entirely so that she can't access anything because it's obviously caused ridiculous brain rot, right? All this conservative fucking fever dream nonsense that she's picking up right now is so sad. So sad.
Wow, they were going to protect you.
They think so, but it's like, come on, y'all.
Well, they're not silencing you now. This is going to be a big interview. I hope listeners will take
Like,
this.
my family sees that I went on Alex Jones, the liberals, because my family nothing but libtards. My brother's a professor at Berkeley, for Christ's sake. That's how liberal.
Well, while you're here, and we're going to
Wow, dude, that's crazy. Libtards, I love it. Let me write this down. This was at 3:26:41. God, that's so sad, isn't it? So sad.
get a late lunch.
They're going to shit theirself.
Give us a little bit of what your new comedy routine and talk to your family. Hit them hard.
You know, I told you so. I told you so for 20 effing years, and I was right every time, and you know it.
No, she wasn't. She, at no point was she right about any of the conspiracies she spread. But that's really interesting. Right for 20-something years. So is she saying that that's how long she believed all this right-wing nonsense? Some of the ideas that she espoused didn't really surface until 2017, though. So I'm not sure if, like, she's been mildly, like, right-wing extreme, like, kind of dipping her toe into conspiracy, or mildly conspiratorial, or if she's always been, like, heavy into it or what. I don't know, but, wow, 20 years.
You know everything I say. I don't lie. You know,
No one thinks that you lie. You don't have to lie to be incorrect about things.
I have a disorder. I have multiple personality disorder. So the only way I can deal with it is by absolute truth. I can't lie because I'll forget, you know?
No one thinks you're lying. And also, I'm not even convinced she has multiple personality disorder. I said this earlier, but I don't think that's a real thing. Maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm incorrect. But when I was in psychology classes, when I was in school for this, there was a lot of doubt about the reality or the existence of it.
You know, I can't bullshit because I won't remember. All I can do is talk the truth. And sometimes I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm wrong. But also, because I have multiple personality disorder.
Well, that's their false definition, though.
I know, they're all full of shit. But I'm always right. And, you know, they'll sometimes go, you called that one right. How about I called all of it right? But anyway, part of having MP.
Look, calling something right by chance doesn't mean that you're justified in calling that thing anyways. Like, if the vaccine, if the lab leak hypothesis turned out to be true, if COVID really did leak from a lab, which we're not sure about right now, if it turned out that it was true after all, it doesn't mean you were right to have claimed that that happened 2 years ago. We had no evidence for that 2 years ago. You claiming that that's what happened 2 years ago was absurd at the time, okay? It was ridiculous. That's how conspiracies work. Conspiracies are conspiracies because there's no evidence to believe them. If they turn out to be true, it doesn't mean you were justified in believing it in the first place.
But anyway, part of having MPD is you do have foresight. Like you were saying, you
Is this a supernatural thing?
see things.
Well, in every culture, they always thought the lunatic was the shaman.
Well, you know what Judaism says. This is a good one. These days, which is called the age of Aquarius. In the age of Aquarius, only the voice of the insane and the drunkard can be trusted, and luckily I'm both.
Amazing. All right. Well, power.
Wow. At least she's got some self-awareness. There's that. Holy shit, dude. That was at the very end of the interview. That was insane.
Full interview. Will you come back soon?
I love it, Alex. I loved it.
This is going to go viral. This is going to be all over the news. And
Well, Godspeed. From your voice to God's ear, may it wake the people. May the people realize how much we love them and how much we do for them. And may comedy be king, and all the comics out there, keep on doing it.
I agree. We get emails every day. Can we play your show? Can we take clips out? It's all free to air. Do whatever you want with it. It's copyright free. Get this out, folks.
I forgot to say one thing.
No, take your time. Go ahead. We're live still. Go for hours.
You are funnier than shit. I just wanted to say how funny you are.
What did you think was funny?
Everything you do when you have some of the things you do when you're like, when you get hysterical, I love it so much.
Alex Jones can be comical in the way that he reacts to ridiculous situations. Like when he was talking to Kanye West, and Kanye West came out and said something like, "We love Hitler," or something like that. Oh, dude, Alex Jones's reaction to that was really, really funny. Sometimes he has hilarious reactions. Here's one. This is Kanye West saying that he loves Hitler.
Seriously, I've really studied a lot of history. Plus, I had family that was there. And so, I mean, I don't think Hitler was a good guy. I get the Hugo Boss uniforms, amazing. But I mean, just because you're in love with the design, you're a designer. Can we just kind of say, like, you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
No, there's a lot of things that I.
Now watch Alex Jones's reaction. This is what I'm thinking is funny.
A lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things. Hey,
I think that's hilarious. You know, sometimes his reactions are really funny to stuff.
All the stuff they turn into memes is hilarious. And you're making your point with comedy, and you don't, nobody's really saying what a great comic you are.
Well, you're very sweet. What's a piece you like the Goblin comedy?
I just like it all. I like it when you like go for broke and like, what do you call it, rant on a thing, and it's like so ridiculously brilliant.
No, just ridiculous. You should have just left it at so ridiculous.
All you can do is just roar. You really have a comic's mind.
Well, you're very sweet. Roseanne Barr, we really appreciate it. You've been an epic interview. I think we've gone 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
She'll be back soon, hopefully, a fellow Texan. Great job.
So anyway, that was the Roseanne interview. Absolutely fucking absurd, if you ask me. Just bizarre, absurd from top to bottom. I still think the Kanye interview was crazier in terms of, like, just straight up endorsing Hitler like that, saying he's a good guy and I like him and he did some great things. That was crazy. But this one was up there. This was really conspiratorial. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I was fascinated by it.